long, but I will try to finish it within 30 minutes. So with this, I wish all the best to all the participants and thank that many they have joined. But really, I feel also sorry that I don't have much time to with you for a long time. So friends, this mushroom cultivation as an agribusiness activity, opportunities and challenges that I'm going to discuss in the next 30 minutes. And I hope that my slides are visible to you.
Visible, sir.
Yes, madam. So it is visible. So thank you very much. So straight away, I think I will come to the mushrooms, that what are mushrooms. And mushroom, basically the fungi, they massed on this planet about 1 billion years ago. And they were sharing the common platform with plants about 700 million years ago, and with animals about 600 million years ago. That means they are more closer to animals compared to plants. And it is a separate kingdom. It is not plant, it is not animal, it's not protozoa or bacteria, but fungi, they are a separate kingdom. And all the mushrooms, they are fungi, but all the fungi, they are not the mushroom. That is another truth. And it is not very new that we are discussing something about the mushroom or the fungi, but I think it is a vegetable basically, ultimately, and all the vegetarians, they are taking a lot of fungi every day, maybe in the form of cheese, bread, and so on. And how many fungi actually exist on this earth? There are two estimates. One says that it was given in 1991, that nearly 1.5 million of fungi, they exist on this earth. But another estimate says that about 5.1 million fungi, they exist on this earth. It is the estimate of 2011. And if it is 1.5 million, that nearly 140,000 can be mushroom. So nearly 10%, they belong to mushroom. And basically mushroom fungi, there are two types, microfungi and macrofungi. So all the fungi, macrofungi, we can consider them as a mushrooms. And out of that only, out of 1.5 million fungi, so far only 110,000 has been investigated. Out of that, 14,000, they are the mushrooms, and 3,000, they are prime edible. 200 has been cultivated experimentally, and 6 are being produced on the industrial scale. And most of the mushroom which we are cultivating, they belong to two classes. That is, one is basidiomycetes. That means the fruit body, they are having the basidium on which basidios roots are present. And the second one is ascomycetes. To these two very, very important mushrooms, they belong. Other mushrooms are also there, but this Morchella gucci, that is very highly prized mushroom. It is occurring naturally in these hilly states of northern India, and in Jammu Kashmir, maybe in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, and in Meghalaya also. Then another is tuber, that is truffle. Truffle is also very, very important. And so these two mushrooms are really very important, which belongs to this ascomycetes. That means the fungi, the fruit body, they are having the ascus on which the ascospore they are produced. Mushroom, if you see the cultivation history, it was auricularia that was cultivated 600 AD, and flammulina, of course, was the another mushroom which was cultivated about 1100 years ago. And sake mushroom is another very, very important mushroom, world's #1 mushroom now. Its cultivation took place about 1,000 years ago. And button mushroom, of course, the most popular mushroom in India. In world, it has slipped to the #4 position, but in world still, in India, still it is the most important mushroom. It was cultivated about 370 years ago. Volvarella, the mushroom which was cultivated, it was the first mushroom which was cultivated here in India in 1943 in Coimbatore. It was also cultivated about 320 years back. Another mushroom, 6 mushroom, Western mushroom species, which was cultivated only in the 20th century. These 6 mushrooms, they are very, very important, and they significantly contribute toward the commercial production even today. Coming to the habitat, most of the mushroom which belong to the category of edible, medicinal, toxic, and poisonous, they are the decomposers. That means they grow on the dead organic matters. Another is endophytes. That means the mushroom mycelium is growing within the plants, and then the fruit body that are produced on the plants. And the third category is the mycorrhizic mushroom. That means the mushrooms, the fungi, they are having the association with the roots of the higher plants, and then they are producing fruit bodies. Basically, most of these conifer plants, they are about 90% plants, they are having mycorrhizal association. In this way, fungi, they are playing very, very important role in carbon sequestration. So they are promoting the health of the plant, they are fixing the nitrogen, they are fixing the nitrogen, and then it is stored in the form of in the living or dead mycelial framework of the fungi. So if we see the scenario, what I was discussing, that we have finite resources of land mass, and then the global population is continuing, and maybe according to this estimate that by 2030 we will surpass China, and India is going to become the most populated country. And if you see this, that how much problem is there, because only 27% land is available, which is supporting the population, if you forget the ocean part. And out of this, only 39% of this 27%, out of the 27%, 39% of this is available for the agriculture, 29% that is having the first area, and 32%, almost 1/3 land is not available, it is non-productive. And if we just see Indian condition, that it is vast, because we are having just 2.4% of land area of this planet, and we have to support 17% population, human population, about 15% animal population. And these are the problems which I was discussing, that we are having limited land, water, sources, and employment is there. Unfortunately, mushroom is having the solution, because mushrooms, they are requiring, it is almost a landless venture, we can use the vertical space, and the water requirement of mushroom is very, very low. It is just 25 liters per kg. If you compare with the fed rice, it is about 3,000 liters, or if you compare with some millets, it is about 900 liters per kg production. So likewise, the requirement, if we compare with rice only, the water requirement is very, very less. And second is inadequate quality food, and fortunately, mushroom, they are having, that very high quality food. They are having quality proteins. It is the highest protein producer per unit area. And third is diminishing quality of health, and mushroom, they are having number of medicinal values or nutraceutical properties. Just in a nutshell, I would like to tell that mushroom, they are having high protein content, and about 40%, all the essential amino acids they are present in there. They are having high fiber contents. Then this is a low calorie food, and there is in starch, it is low, but it is a quality starch. Linoleic acid is present there, ergosterol is present there. Cholesterol that the dreaded, that cholesterol is, this fat is not present there. And the fatty acids, among the fatty acids, high polyunsaturated fatty acids are there. No starch is there in carbohydrate, and the sugar whatsoever is there, they are not available. So it is excellent for the diabetic persons. Among the minerals, copper, selenium, potassium, iron, zinc, phosphorus, you talk about any mineral, they are present in sufficient quantity. And vitamins, about vitamin B complex is there, vitamin C is there, vitamin D is there. And in two vitamins, particularly vitamin D and vitamin B12, they're very, very important. Why? Because they are not present in the vegetarian source. So for vegetarians, a mushroom can be one source to have these two proteins. So likewise, the biological value of the mushroom protein is very, very high. And it is the mushroom protein, they are the gluten-free. Another, nowadays, the demand for the gluten food is there. So mushroom protein that is not having, this is gluten-free. So likewise, fiber, due to high fiber content, it takes care of our digestive system. And sodium content is very low, whereas the potassium is very high. So because of this ratio, it is excellent for these high blood pressure patients. That due to these fibers, they are, they're taking care of this, helping, taking care dietary fiber, they are assisting our digestive system. And fat, I told that it is low, and ergosterol is present there. It is good for heart. So nearly 80% fatty acid, they are the unsaturated fatty acids. And likewise, absence of cholesterol is there. So vitamin B complex is there, vitamin D is there, vitamin B12 is there. So because of starch is not present in carbohydrate, and because of that, it is delight of the diabetic, and there is presence of number of flavonoids. They are having highly antioxidant properties. So another important thing of mushroom is that they are having a low glycemic index. Almost the glycemic index is not detectable in mushrooms. Then free radicals are there. That is, the role what they are playing in our body. But mushroom, they are having antioxidants, and they're taking care of these free radicals. So in another minerals, copper is there, that is having this cardioprotective properties. Selenium, that is having this anti-cancerous antioxidant property, they are also present there. Number of medicinal uses are there. Mushroom, they are having anti-HIV properties, antiviral, antihistaminic, and they are having cholesterolemic properties. They can reduce the cholesterol. They can protect our kidney, liver, and mushrooms, particularly cordyceps mushroom. It is excellent stamina enhancer. These are some other, that compound which are present in different mushroom. Lectin is there, lovastatin. It is a cholesterol reducing compound that is present in oyster mushroom. And then erythritidine is there in stachya mushroom. That can also reduce the cholesterol, whereas lanthanum content is there in stachya mushroom. It is an anti-cancerous agent. Then in Herschel mushroom, this ericinone is there, and arnicinines are there. They are good for the neurological health. Cordyceps is there in cordyceps mushroom, and ergothinin is there in Polytoniamico mushroom. Then propylene is also there. In Ganoderma, that is a wonderful medicine mushroom, and trade of $1 billion is there world over, and it has got number of medicinal uses. So the fourth is increasing environmental deterioration. But mushrooms, they grow on the agro waste, so we can utilize this agro waste very well for managing this our waste. We can produce a quality food, and whatsoever is left thereafter, after growing mushroom, that is known as spent mushroom substrate. It is excellent for the bioremediation. So why we should cultivate mushrooms now? Because mushroom cultivation is land expensive. We can manage the agro waste. It is a labor intensive, so we can provide employment. Mushrooms, they are highly remunerative. It is a high profit making, that business. Mushroom is highly nutritious food, I told in the previous slides. Then mushroom is the highest protein producer. Then environment management, really we can, by managing the this agroclimatic conditions, agroclimate, this your agro waste, we can take care of the environment, and mushroom is a zero waste industry. So well, friends, the mushroom production started after commercial this year World War II, and initially the growth was low, but in the last 20 years, the exponential growth mushroom industry is exponential growth, and presently world over about 43 million tons of mushrooms are being produced. And if you see the production wise, nearly the mushroom they are producing in 100 countries. China is the leader in mushroom production. They are producing nearly 36 million tons of mushroom. We are at number 5, and our production is 0.26 million tons. So if you see the relative contribution of different species, in 1960, it was button mushroom, it was contributing 78%. Other mushroom, they were not very important. By 2014, Shiitake mushroom became as #1 mushroom, and its contribution was 22%. The button mushroom, that is another, still very popular in our country. Its position slipped to number 4, and another mushroom, Pleurotus, Auricularia, Flammulina, Vorvillera, they were the other mushroom. And this is the latest data according to this. The #1 mushroom in the world is Shiitake mushroom, and it is contributing 26%. And button is contributing 11%. Again, the 6 mushroom, what I named, they are contributing 87% of the total mushroom production in the world. If you see the continent-wise mushroom production, Asia is contributing 82.8%. In the Asia, these are the countries: China, Japan, South Korea, India, Iran, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Vietnam, this Vietnam. These are the countries. Second is Europe, 12% is there. Oceania 0.4, Africa 0.3, and Americas. In America, USA, Canada, Mexico, Brazil. These are the main mushroom producing countries. In USA, button mushroom is the most important. Other than they are not very important. In the European countries, these are some important countries. And here, if you see critical the graphs in the different countries, the mushroom production scenario, it is either constant or decreasing. And the main reason for this is the labor cost. So we have the opportunities because here the labor is cheap, and we can really promote this mushroom activity. So this is the Indian scenario that we are producing 266,000 tons of mushroom. Button accounts for more than 70%. And these are the 5 mushroom which we are cultivating here in India: white button mushroom, oyster, milky, Pakistan, Shiitake. And this is how we made the progress. Mushroom production we started in 1970s, and then presently, I think in the last 5 years only, about in 2010, the production was about 113,000, but now we are producing 266,000. If we see the state-wise contribution, almost the mushrooms are cultivated in all the states, but Maharashtra is #1 state with the contribution of nearly 30,000 tons, closely followed by Bihar, again 29,000 tons. Then Punjab, Haryana, Odisha. Odisha is another third important state, and Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand. All these states, these are the main leading producer of the mushrooms. If we see the relative contribution, button mushroom was very important in 1980s, but now we are cultivating 70% is button mushroom, 17% is oyster mushroom, and 9% is paddy star mushroom, milky is 3%. Other, particularly the Shiitake mushroom, it is just 1%. And if we see region-wise, then in North India and in Maharashtra, it is button mushroom that is important. If you go to the south, then it is this your milky mushroom is important in west in these coastal states in Odisha, particularly paddy mushroom important. In Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and this your West Bengal in northeastern states. This your Pluto species they are important. Western mushroom is important. Stake cultivation Stake was important in Manipur state only, but in the last 4 or 5 years now it is becoming popular in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So what are the opportunities here for the mushroom cultivation here in India? Because we are having huge agriculture waste to the tune of 700 to 800 million tons. We are having cheap labor. We are having this varied agroclimatic conditions, and the mushroom is highly remunerative. If you really want to enhance the mushroom income, if you really want to empower the rural women particularly, if you really want to provide these employment opportunities to our educated youth, I think mushroom is one answer for that. Mushroom because we are the most thickly populated country with a population of more than 135 crores. So market is very huge here, but the consumption is very, very low. Only 200 grams we are consuming here, per Indian, whereas in China it is about 27 kg. Then mushroom, they are having excellent export potential. Particularly, we can target Gulf countries, we can target European countries for the export. So mushroom, for the entrepreneurship, they can be for the spawn production, it can for the compost production, it can be for the cultivation, or it can be for the packing, canning, and processing. Each of these components, they're very, very much profitable and excellent venture for the youth. So this is how the spawn, this is the technical problem, technical procedure, how the spawn is produced, that we have to produce culture, master culture, and spawn. And if a laboratory nearly of 60 feet by 30 feet is there, one can really produce about 200 tons of spawn per annum, and he can make very good profit, maybe in lakhs, maybe about 50 lakhs per year. Then in cultivation, we are cultivating 4 mushroom. One is white button mushroom, or 5 mushroom. White button mushroom is one. 2 methods of these cultivations are there in our country. One can be for the farmers, which are resource poor. Those who cannot invest much, they have to follow this method that no infrastructure is required. Compost is prepared by long method. And the second, this is how the compost is prepared in the open, just low cost huts they are prepared. And then compost is also, this is a view of the hut. These type of huts, they are very common in North India. Nowadays, this production is going because the cultivation of this button mushroom is done seasonally, and presently the season is excellent for the button mushroom production because it is a temperate mushroom, it requires low temperature. Then second is round their mushroom cultivation model. There are different facilities like, that bunkers, pasteurization chamber, some automation. All these things are required, and it is a view of a mushroom house where automated, all the things they are automated one, and it is around their mushroom cultivation facilities. So this is one mushroom. Of course, about 70% contribution is coming here in India from this button mushroom. And here in India, this is the most popular mushroom. But if you see the global production there, it has slipped to 4 number, and total contribution is only 11% there. Then the second mushroom, that is the oyster mushroom. Here we are having 6 mushroom species which are commercially cultivated. And the beauty of this mushroom is that it is having different colors. It can be cultivated on different climates and at different temperatures. And the cultivation technology is very, very simple. Simply take any straw, give some treatment, maybe hot water treatment, chemical treatment, or pasteurization, and then fill in polythene bags, spawn it, and thereafter incubate it for some time, maybe 20, 25 days, depending upon the species and depending upon the temperature. And thereafter the bag they are moved and mushrooms start coming like this. Hanging system is also very common, particularly in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. They are following this system for this mushroom production. Another advantage of oyster mushroom is that post-harvest management is very easy, because here we can go for sun drying, whereas for the button mushroom, sun drying is not possible. And the shelf life of oyster mushroom or fresh oyster mushroom, button mushroom, just 2 to 3 days, not more than that. This is another mushroom. This is milky mushroom. Its cultivation is done at 28 to 35 degrees centigrade. And it is high temperature requiring mushroom. Cultivation technology, again simple, because we are not supposed to prepare compost. We can take any substrate, we have to spawn that, incubate that. Low cost structures can also be used for this because the temperature requirement is quite high. This type of system is very common in southern India. And ultimately, we have to apply casing layer and the mushroom starts coming like this. Shelf life of this mushroom is very long, maybe 9-10 days, at room temperature. Then this is another mushroom that can be cultivated in open, this pedestal mushroom. As the name indicates that we cultivate this mushroom, the paddy straw. Mushroom beds are prepared in open under the shade of some tree, and then this is spawned and this is covered by polythene sheet, and after 7-8 days we remove this polythene sheet, and then the mushroom they start coming up to 2 to 3 days. So after spawning, the mushroom they start coming after 10 or 11 days, and then another flush will be there, and within 20 or 25 days the whole crop is terminated. So in this way nearly 17 to 18 crops there can be taken on one spot. So this is how we can go for the intensification in agriculture by following this type of rapid growing varieties. Internal cultivation, indoor cultivation technology also there. Here we can obtain very high biological efficiency of this mushroom. This is a very common scene. If you visit this Odisha, you will find these mushrooms, or they are selling this mushroom outside these roads. One problem with this mushroom is it is very tasty. The problem is that the shelf life of this mushroom is very short, just 1 day. And if by mistake, if you are storing it inside the refrigerator, there will be liquefaction, because this mushroom is very, very sensitive to low temperature. This is a wonderful mushroom, Stake lanternula. This we can cultivate on wood logs or on synthetic logs, that is the sawdust from the broadleaf trees. And sawdust is taken, it is supplemented with wheat bran or rice bran, and then it is spawned, incubated, it will pass from the different phases. Then ultimately when the spawn is there, after about 35 days, a cold water treatment is given, and after about 47 days, we can take the first harvest. Then we have some rest period is there. Again, we have to give some cold water treatment. In this way, we can harvest 4 or 5 flushes, and from 1 kg dry sawdust, we can harvest about 1 kg or 1.5 kg mushrooms from that sawdust. So this mushroom can be sold as fresh, or it can be dried. Then Ganoderma, another wonderful mushroom, medicinal mushroom. Only the pharmaceutical company will purchase it. Very much profitable, but you should have ensured market for this. So the cultivation technology almost similar to Stake mushroom, but the temperature requirement here is very high, 30 to 35 degrees centigrade, and cold water treatment is not required. This is that Cordyceps sinensis. It grows on ghost moth. We are trying to cultivate this, but we have not succeeded so far. And then this RTF concept, ready to fruit bags concept, can also be helpful to promote mushroom, to popularize mushroom in the urban or peri-urban areas, and it is very successful for Western mushroom. In India, there is no well-organized market. Though they are giving state-based selling their produce to the consumer, or it is to the agent. They are taking the product through their agent to the markets, or in some states, some cooperatives are also there. For example, in Haryana, I think some cooperatives are there. In some country, the auction system is also there, bidding is there. For example, bidding there is there for the Stake mushroom in Japan and for white bran mushroom in Netherlands. Mushroom is basically zero-waste industry, nothing is waste. When we produce 1 kg mushroom, we are producing about 5 kg spent mushroom substrate. Now, depending upon the mushroom, if it is coming from the white button mushroom, it is excellent organic manure after decomposition for 6 or 8 months. Then if it is coming from your oyster mushroom, it is excellent cattle feed. Then if it is coming from Stake mushroom, it is a fuel. And if it is coming from paddy straw mushroom, then it can be used for the verming compost. So mushroom cultivation is highly profitable venture. If a farmer is growing mushroom just seasonally for 4 months, he's keeping himself busy, he can earn about 10 lakhs from 1 hectare of land. Whereas if you compare with the traditional agriculture, he can earn only 0.4, that means about 40,000. And if it is a round the mushroom cultivation farm, or he's engaged in commercial cultivation, then he can earn his crores, just 1 crore net profit will be there. Now coming to the challenges, one is that consumption is very, very low. We are consuming just about 200 grams here, whereas in China, it is a bit old data, but about 27 kg per person consumption is there. So certainly we have to promote. That is a challenge, that how to promote mushroom consumption here in India. So in other countries, regular mushroom days to showcase machinery and technology, Netherlands, even to popularize the mushroom properties are there. And here in India, we are organizing regularly on 23rd December Mushroom Mela, where we are trying to promote mushroom, the properties, the benefits of mushroom. Then another is that one of the bottleneck of this mushroom population is that availability of spawn, that's the seed. It is not available to the growers at the right time. So there is no spawn standard, and we have to ensure the availability of the mushroom. This we have to develop the spawn standard. We have to develop some legal mechanism so that we can promote these private laboratories to produce spawn. Then there is a need to develop this standard model for different mushroom, except button mushroom. For other mushroom, different models are existing. Even for the button mushroom here in India, different farmers, they are using different grow these mushroom houses. And due to in absence of that, it is not possible to go for the automation or mechanization. It is not possible to go for automation or mechanization. So certainly there is need to develop this standard mushroom houses, and only then, and because of that only, because in the European countries, in China, in South Korea, in Japan, automation is there, mechanization there, and they are harvesting nearly 40 kg mushroom from 1 quintal compost, compared to India, where we are harvesting only 15 to 20 kg mushrooms. And that is one, mechanization and automation is one reason for that. So this is how commercial units have complete automation right from bottle cultivation. Just see the view of a mushroom house inside. This Pholiodynamica mushroom, they're cultivating. It is wonderful mushroom inside the mushroom house. So only totally automated. Just that at the time of harvesting only, there is manual things are done. Otherwise, it is fully automated. Another fully automated for the stock mushroom cultivation farm. Then another challenge is that we are using long method of compost, particularly these seasonal mushroom farms. They are using the long method of compost, and the quality of the long method compost is not good. Unfortunately, it will invite a number of insect and pest diseases. Yield will be low, and the farmer they get disgraced. So certainly, we have to promote the short method of compost. We have to approach the government so that it can come with some policy decision. They should establish some mother composting unit so that they can provide compost to the farmers at cheaper rates, or ready to fruit bag type of concept should be there, so that we can really promote the mushroom cultivation. Then post harvest, because mushroom it is a highly perishable commodity, nearly 90% is the water, so the shelf life is very, very short. Then certainly to reduce the post harvest losses, a cold chain management must be in place, and better packaging, we have to go for the better packaging. So for only this polythene bag they were used, but now polythene is banned. So people they are shifting for these punnets. They are costly a little bit. Then they are going for these other woven bags, but they're actually that the shelf life is not that much. So certainly a DMR is working on this line, that we are finding some quality this packaging material so that we can extend the shelf life. Then certainly due to the short shelf life, we have to promote the value-added products. And we are engaged, Directorate of Mushroom Research engaged in this direction also. In the last few years only, nearly 35 products have been developed and the technology has been transferred to the stakeholders. Then another issue, their marketing, very, very important. In the mushroom industry, only those mushrooms are successful who are doing marketing successfully. Different arms are there. Just for the marketing growth, we have to address all the arms. We have to find the new ways to sell. We have to promote its property. It has to be customer-centric culture. Then website should be there so that we can promote the mushrooms. We can promote the merits of the mushroom. We have to go for the innovative design and media. We have to go for the branding. Ultimately, we have to synchronize all these strategies, how we can promote the mushroom. So this is another that we are producing nearly 5 kg spent mushroom substrate. And we have to promote that how we can go for the value addition of this even SMS. I know some of the private farms, some of the mushroom growers, they are already going for the value addition, and they're selling the spent mushroom substrate at the rate of 20 to 25 rupees per kg. And they're selling their mushroom at the rate of 100 or 120 rupees per kg, but they're selling the spent mushroom substrate at the rate of nearly 20 to 25 rupees per kg. So we have to go for that also. Then another thing, no university is offering that degree in mushrooms, MSc, PhD degree in mushrooms. So certainly we are not having no suitable experts or consultants, manpower is available here in India. There is need for special schools, center of excellences for training, etc., so that we can give greater emphasis on human resource development, so that we can have trained manpower, because mushroom cultivation is a technical job. It is not a traditional agriculture. So certainly we have to promote this, we have to give greater emphasis on the human resource development. Then we have to reduce the cost of production. Certainly, because now the cost of production is increasing and the profit of farmer is decreasing, and farmers they are getting disgraced. We have to promote, we have to diversify the mushroom industry. We should not stick to the button mushroom. That is a temperate mushroom. India is basically a subtropical, tropical country. We have to waste a lot on the energy. So we have to promote this regional specific technology. We have to select those mushrooms which can be cultivated at high temperature. For example, one example is here for the oyster mushroom. Here, fortunately, we are having different species. Of course, we have identified and directed on mushrooms such as the 6 species. They can be cultivated at different temperatures. Different mushroom species, they can be cultivated. One, Pleotus syringae, can be cultivated at 10 degrees centigrade. Another, Pleotus membranus or Pleotus gemor, it can be cultivated at 32 degrees centigrade. So even if a farmer want to cultivate oyster mushroom, he can do seasonal cultivation in the different season simply by selecting different species. So this type of technology is required, season specific varieties we have to promote. We have standardized the cultivation technology of nearly 35 mushrooms in the last 5-6 years here at ICR-DMR Solan. They belong to different medicinal categories. In the winter mushroom, a Panus, Loins made that Hericium, in Gryphola medicinal mushroom, King oyster, wonderful mushroom, and then Cordyceps militaris technology has been also established here. So another, here you can see Lenten Sagittarius, another medicinal mushroom. So this water cultivation of Phalamulina, this another medicinal mushroom, and different mushrooms has been, the technology of different mushroom has been standardized at ICR-DMR Solan, and it is available to the growers for the entrepreneurs. Then this mushroom particularly I would like to discuss, that Cordyceps militaris. The cultivation technology of this mushroom has been standardized at ICR-DMR Solan. We are offering 3 days training program for this to the entrepreneurs. It is a practical training, and just after 3 days, they are having full confidence they can cultivate this. This your Pilotus, this your Cordyceps militaris. And this is a mushroom. It is simply some sort of tissue culture type of infrastructure is required for this. And from just a small room, maybe 10 by 10 feet room, one can accommodate nearly 2,000 beakers there in that small room, and he can take 6 crops because the crop cycle of this is 2 months. Temperature requirement is nearly 20 to 22 degrees centigrade, and one can earn nearly 10 lakh from that small room just by cultivating. But only one thing is that he should be very clear about the marketing of this mushroom, because it's a medicinal mushroom, and only the cost of this mushroom is very high, nearly 1 lakh per kg. So certainly we have to invest a lot, we have to struggle a lot for the marketing of this mushroom. Morchella is another a very important challenge for the DMR, and we were trying to cultivate this mushroom since the inception of this institute in 1983. But only 2 years back, we succeeded to cultivate this Morchella mushroom at ICR-DMR Solan. We are further refining the cultivation technology of this mushroom, and I'm very sure that in the next 2-3 years, the technology of this Morchella cultivation will also be made available to the farmers so that they can cultivate Morchella also at their home. Now, coming to the way forward, number one, we have to promote the consumptions. And we have to promote the consumptions by that following different strategies. Maybe that because for the vegetarian, mushroom is the only source of vitamin D and B12. So we can go for the vitamin D fortified mushrooms. And because if we expose mushrooms to the ultraviolet or even to the sun, sometime there is tremendous increase in the vitamin D content of the mushrooms. Then in some countries, there is need to adopt models for promoting marketing and consumption. And then this is, I have already explained that vitamin D and vitamin B12, they can play a very, very important role. In some countries, already vitamin D enhanced mushroom using ultraviolet light are already on sale in Australia and Europe. That type of, I think, strategy we have to follow. Then we have to better variety, we have to breed better varieties, maybe in the button mushroom, because different varieties for the different purchases are required. For example, in Stake, the variety which are having thick flesh is in demand. So we have to breed that variety. For example, in button mushroom, we require the variety which are bruise resistant, so that they did not turn brown if some injury is there. So on different, for example, in oyster mushroom, we have to breed a variety which are having white color. So breeding should be done for different trade specific breeding should be there. So a lot of emphasis we have to give, and ICR-DMR Solan is working on this line. Up to 2014, only three varieties were released by DMR Solan, but in the last 7 or 8 years, 22 more varieties of different mushroom has been also bred and released to the farmers. These are the different varieties which has been developed at ICR-DMR Solan. They are in the button, in the Stake, in the milky mushroom, macrocybie, and in Bolverella. Then we have to go for automation and mechanization. Certainly, here also we have to design the standard mushroom houses for different mushroom, except for button mushroom. Here some standard models are there. Other mushroom, no standard model is there. It is very difficult to go for automation and mechanization unless we are having the standard models for different house mushrooms. Okay. Can't sleep.
Hello, sir.
Just a minute. Please. So just to sum up, the growth of mushroom industry is a function of positive, interactive among researchers, extension workers, farmers, industry and policy makers. And certainly there is need for the synchronized approach in systematically generating the awareness about the mushroom consumption. Number one, proper technologies and environment for mushroom cultivation, and development of marketing chains for supply of fresh mushrooms, and production of indigenous, designs and promoting this mushroom cultivation technology for the indigenous mushroom. So mushroom growing is not just a rapidly expanding agribusiness, but it is also a significant tool for the restoration, replacement, and remediation of first overburden ecosphere. It is a statement that was given by Paul Stimmers. So thank you very much. In the 30 to 40 minutes, I can only sum up all these things hurriedly in this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for such a wonderful and insightful session. I know, sir, it seems clearly that you're very busy. So from your busy schedule, you could able to make 30-40 minutes for us. We are very thankful to you, sir. So only one question I would like to ask with your permission, sir.
Thank you very much.
Rest of the questions, sir, we will definitely deal with through mail, sir. So only one question I had to ask is like, so can our organization Just Agriculture collab for online mushroom training batch at your institute? Because a lot of students dropped queries for online training of mushrooms, sir.
We are, I think, after this Corona, when Corona struck our country or world, we started in 2020 itself, online training programs. But they were not, the participants, they were not very much satisfied. They were eagerly waiting when you are going to start this offline training program. So just last month only also, we organized one online program. But in case, then we took the decision that the response was now poor. But in case, if you are wishing, if many are wishing, if they will request us, certainly we can organize another online training program for them. There's no problem. It will be a 5 days training program, and certainly only theoretical or videos, etc. We will try to show. And but if it is possible, if it will be possible to attend the training program in a physical mode, I think that will be more useful.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. That's what actually next question was like, what about the offline training program? So lot many students are actually interested, sir.
It is already going on, and we concluded one training program on Saturday itself, and all this information is displayed on our website. We are continuously organizing different training programs. So they can enroll in any of the training program. If it is a batch of say 30, 40 or 50, then we can organize a special program for them also.
Okay, sir.
Certainly we'll charge some fee also. So all these things are there, but certainly they can make a request and we'll see how we can accommodate them. But we'll try to accommodate, certainly.
Okay, sir. So we are very grateful and thankful to you, sir. So actually, thank you for elaborating to us to a wonderful world of mushrooms, sir. So maybe our participants must have learned from this, and definitely we can have collaboration with you in some future time, sir. So thank you so much. On the behalf of Just Agriculture and our participants, I thank you once again, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. So participants, here comes the end of this session. For the next session, we have with us Mr. Vivek Mishra, who is the founder, director, and CEO of Fibro Heal Wound Care Private Limited. Before calling him to deliver his lecture, I would like to briefly introduce him to our participants. Sir is a techno professional working in the field of medical devices, pharmaceuticals, food, nutrition, agri, and seed business. Sir started his current venture in the year 2017, which is based on silk protein derived wound management solutions. Fibro Heal is the first company from India and a few in the world to be leveraging the biomaterial property of silk and silk proteins to address different types and stages of wounds through their IP protected technology to heal acute and chronic wounds. Under Vivek Sir's leadership, Fibro Heal won the title of Winner of Elevate 100, one of the most innovative biotech startups organized by Department of IT, BT and ST Government of Karnataka. Winner of Startup of the Year under Smart Bio Award 2020 during Bengaluru Tech Summit 2020. Winner of National Technology Award 2020 for Startup organized by Technology Development Board of DST. Winner of Best IP Managed MedTech Startup during Biopharma World IE 2021 Bio Startup Awards. And finalists of the National Startup Awards 2020. So with this background, I would like to invite sir to the podium. So you are very welcome. And we are more than happy to listen to you, sir. The stage is all yours. Please continue, sir.
Well, thank you, Preeti. Thank you for bringing me to the platform of Just Agriculture. And hello, everyone. Hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir. You are very audible, sir.
Okay. So to start with, I will discuss on the topic that is more related to agripreneurship, agri startups, exploring various value chain and creating employment opportunities. I would not make any presentation because what I feel that it's important for you to relate to a life closer to you, understand it and try to implement it on the ground level. Because each one from the country, comes from different parts of the country, which is rich in various types of resources. It can be natural resources, it can be some of the waste products, it can be related to some of the other stuff, and from which we can create value. And I'm also someone who is creating value from silk, other than textiles. So I'm healing various types of wounds, whether diabetic ulcer or cesarean section or any type of, traumatic wound, accidental wound, pressure ulcer, bed sore, or any other type of wound using silk and silk proteins. And silk is from sericulture, which is, you can call it as a subset of agriculture because it is grown by farmers. So I will touch base upon some of the opportunities available to all of you, some of the scope which is present to each one of you in terms of creating value and making a difference. And thirdly, I will also touch base upon, the story of FibroHeal. And I would like to keep it more, kind of discussion oriented where people can put their questions in the chat box. I would be happy to answer it. I would like it to be more of an interactive session.
Yes, sir. So we have enabled the chat. So any participants who are want to ask something, they can put their questions in chat box.
Sure. And I would also, so to give you an insight, agri segment is something which has expanded out really well, and there is a lot of opportunity which is there in the system. I'm sure many of you would be having these thoughts that, what is the opportunity in agriculture? Will I get a job early, or will I be able to grow up the ladder quickly? Will I be able to get placed if I'm studying it, or will I be able to, create a career out of it? So trust me, now is the best time to be in agriculture, where there is government push, where there is a lot of opportunities which has come out both organically and inorganically, and there is a lot of scope. And even you would have seen that a lot of agri startups getting funded these days. You might have read the news. Companies like DAY-12, Animal, Resa Mandi, Bioprime, to name a few. And agriculture is no longer hardcore, growing wheat, rice, and cotton and maize, and that's all. There are various other allied things which is related to that part. Now coming to agripreneurship, I would slightly go back one step and try to find out what is agripreneurship all about and why it is important. We all know that we come from some or the other part of the country. Someone from village, someone from a town, someone from a city, someone from a state. And all of us would have seen something or the other happening at one place. For example, someone coming from Punjab, Haryana, that region, they might have seen that there is a lot of problem related to stubble burning, right? Can we do something about it where it can be supplied in the form of a laddu made of that stubble and supplied to the southern states where there is dearth of those kind of resources? Isn't it a good business idea? Isn't it a agripreneurship? That what is creating pollution and all of us, cribbing it on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, rather doing that social media thing, and wasting time in that, if we can, kind of look at it and create a laddu which is sustainable, supply to other part of the country. In the process, you build a company, generate 30, 40, 50, 100 employment, make money, solve a problem, and you grow it. That is what is agripreneurship. And this is a very basic problem what I gave you. Each state, each city has its own set of problem and its own set of solution. That is where youngsters and people like us, all of us need to address it. Now, same thing what I noted is in certain part, silk across the value chain, silk is used for saris, there will be a worm which is inside a silk cocoon. It is put in boiling water, thread comes out, that is used to reel and weave saris. Now, not many people know, or many may know and then might not have acted it. Knowing this, that silk has two proteins in it, sericin and fibroin. Sericin has good cosmetic application, fibroin has got wound healing application. I utilize that fibrin protein to heal different types of wounds. That is why the name of my venture is called FibroHeal, healing wounds through fibrin protein from silk. What did we do extra? Nothing. We discovered something which was already there. And we invented the process on how to make it more, tech savvy or deep tech. Similarly, a lot of things can be done. We all know that, extracting various other sources, various types of oils, various types of, prior to, me, the gentleman, the prof who was speaking, he discussed about cordyceps and various other types of mushrooms. We all know that cordyceps is also known as Himalayan vigra. A lot of demand from Korean, Japs, and Taiwan and China related matter. It's also known as an aphrodisiac. Similarly, if you look at, there is a lot of basic stuff which we can get into. For example, neem oil. We all know that, neem is so easily and readily available that probably in every house has a neem tree. Now, how many of us have exploited it as an opportunity? That is what, instead of trying to do something fancy, try to create a difference at most grassroots level, which is very close to you, maybe your house, your village, your taluka, your district, your state, and you will still things start moving, things start happening. So coming to, before that, I can see a question from Susmita Raj. Sir, what are the challenges you face while starting your startup and how you overcome them through bring your unique and new theme? How you take it to the people? Very good question, Susmita. I will answer it in a very simple manner. What are the challenges you faced? Everything was a challenge, including my mind, because it always used to make me feel that you are doing right. Who will marry you? Who will, will anyone give you value? Will you be successful? So every day was a doubt. But the point is, you don't need to, you need to take a pause and move forward. You don't need to stop. You may be scared. That's fine. But again, jo dar ke aage jeet hai wala thing, you have to keep following up. Take a step, take second step, take third step. You need to keep moving forward. So starting up was like that. Trust me, starting a startup or becoming an entrepreneur is like riding a tiger. You are lucky enough to sit on the tiger, but if you get down from the tiger, you know what's going to happen to you. so you can't get down from the tiger, but you have to keep running it. And till the time you reach a stage, and success, there is no fixed path to success. There are different methods to success. What you have to do is you have to take the step forward continuously, like cycle. You have to keep moving. If you become stagnant, you will fall. So as a startup, you need to be really agile, and if you are agile, things will move. Then how you overcame them, because how you overcome them. The important part was the team. You need to have the good team who are positive, enthusiastic, optimistic. Forget the skill sets. The energy of the people needs to be high, that yes, we will make a difference, we will do it. That is important aspect. And trust me, there is no fixed path. Paths come out, based on discussions, based on the problem solving ability, and things move. And how you take it to the people. Now coming to, there are 4 P's you might have studied: product, price, place, promotion, process, all those kind of P's. But I talk about people, 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 and people. Because trust me, ultimately, it's the people who build businesses, and then it becomes success story, what we discuss in entrepreneurship or any other things. So I hope I have answered. Most important thing is creating a team around who believe in the vision and who abide by the various things, what we want to do in life. Now, coming to the other aspects, how do we do value creation? I gave example of some, some laddu, some those kind of things, are related to stubble burning. Similarly, if you look at the kind of natural resources what we have, silk. When we started, we were not knowing that where we will be. Today, our product is used in more than 200 hospitals. More than 75,000 patients have been treated with silk range of product. It was a new concept from silk. But what we did was we keep pursuing and try to improve, each batch, each day, each month, try to improve upon. Not improve on just in sales number, but each one as an individual, each department as a function. And trust me, things will start moving forward in different directions. Now, when we look at, how many of you have heard about a company called Animal? Anyone? Do look at it. It is run by two girls, 25, 26-year-old girls, doing more than 500 crore sales. And they do trading of cows and buffaloes. You might have heard of Sonpur Mela. This is also very closely related to agriculture. Sonpur Mela was one, where people used to do this cow, buffalo, trading, exchanging, and all those things. They are doing it on an app and platform. Farmers are doing it on an app. Look at Dehat, look at Satuj, look at various other things. They are not doing. How many of you have heard about a company called AgroWave? they are bringing fresh fruits and vegetables from people in and around Punjab and Haryana and catering to Delhi and part of NCR and doing about 20, 24, 25 crore business. Now you will say that, isn't it entrepreneurship? They are giving power to the farmers that you don't need to sell anywhere. You need to sell to us, we'll take care of other things, which is the most difficult part. We all know that what happens in the marketplace. A farmer takes the produce to the market ultimately based on his ability to manipulate things or ability to keep things, he gets the rate at various levels. So the simple message is, if you are able to solve a problem at your stage, whether it is related to your area, related to any one topic, that is what is entrepreneurship. You don't need to do any fancy stuff. Do basic stuff. In simple words, do good work today and repeat it every day. You would have created a company in 3-4 years time frame. You would have created a beautiful organization. Then you need to put systems and processes. And trust me, every company had started like that, including Fibroil. Today we are a high-tech, deep tech company. But when we started, imagine, when we are doing research, autoclave nahi hai. So kya karne ka? Pressure cooker mein CT lagane ka. Because you need autoclave with, pressure and temperature, right? Common stuff I'm telling you at very early research stage when you don't have anything. Today you have a state-of-art lab, fancy stuff, all stainless steel grade 316 materials. But those point of time you are not knowing all of that. So it's important for you to know things like that. To put efforts, trust me, idea is nothing, execution is everything. Everyone will get idea, but how many of you actually walk on that idea? Similarly, look at the value chain. You all know that. How many of you have seen cow dung cake being sold on Amazon? It's a very basic thing. We all used to say कि कलयुग आएगा जब cow dung cake भी बेचा जाएगा उसमें. It's a fact now. It's selling for almost 450 rupees for 5. And people in bigger cities like Mumbai and Bangalore are buying it for Yagi and Havan while doing their home, jo ghar greh pravesh. This is just an example I'm giving you. It's not a fancy stuff. You don't need to look at very fancy stuff, a basic thing. It's also part of agri-produce. Now, when we say, trust me, people will talk whatever, but agriculture holds the future of the company. Government is very, very aggressive on those parts. Government is very clear that we have to support agri segment. And this is the right time to get into the agri segment. Try to make a difference in those areas. Try to create an impact. And before I close it, I will just share the journey of Fibroil. When we started, we had one product. We kept going to the marketplace. We realized that there is a lot of opportunities. We moved to C-section dressing. We moved into scar. We moved into other type of dressing. Now we are looking to get into exports market. We are creating a factory which is more than an acre now in Bangalore. All this happened because we started with one journey that silk is good for wound healing. I read it in a paper. Met a farmer who said that a good silk sari comes from a mother-in-law to daughter-in-law to the generation together. And that's how the journey started. Nothing was clear when we started it 5-6 years back. I was not knowing what is National Technology Award and all that till the time I won it in 2020. Why? Because we just did the good work. We did not bother about the outcome. We did not bother about what's happening. The simple message was, keep slogging it out. Keep working hard. And be open about your surrounding and be conscious about the intent. The intent was to create a beautiful company which heal wounds using a local material, and indirectly it become part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. We talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat. The complete material is Indian, research is Indian, made in India for the Indians. Now, don't you think it's a very beautiful storyline? But when I started 5 years back, was this the intent? Probably no. Correct? So that's how this example I gave you before closing down is all of you can make a difference. I know the slot given was 30 minutes for each of us. So I would like to summarize in well-defined time frame. So with this, thank you very much. I am open to questions and I am open to take up individual questions and answer it to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So within a span of 15 minutes, actually, you could motivate us, motivate all of us thoroughly. And actually, definitely, I'm literally very impressed with the Fibroil, the name you have given to the company. And it's very inspiring, sir. So chat is enabled and participants can unmute also themselves. So if they have any questions, they can definitely ask. So one question I can see in chat box is, do you provide any professional training in sericulture?
Not sericulture directly, but yes, we have known companies where we can help you out, from where we buy silk cocoons or from where we help us. So we can help you in sericulture.
Okay, sir. So participants can unmute themselves and they can ask a question. So one question I have,
Sure.
like sir, there are so many companies in the market, sir, regarding wound healing or like that. So how did you advertise? How did you advertise yourself to be the best in this competitive thing, sir? How did you advertise yourself?
Very, very, very good question. Now, trust me, what is the most powerful medium of communication? Human to human.
Yeah, that's true, sir.
Nothing can beat that. So we
Yes, sir.
follow that method. We speak to surgeons, top-notch surgeons, and we don't do the talking. We ask them that give us one patient, give us one wound which is not healing or which is causing a lot of trouble for you. I will heal that wound for you. So slowly, steadily, show the difference. Once you show the difference, you win the trust of the consumer or the customer or the user. And then it becomes much easier for you to do business with him. Because trust me, ultimately, we are all in cashing on the relationships. And relationships need, any empty relationship will not last long. So for that, you make someone's life easy. And as often in every interview, I say it, unless everyone makes money and unless everyone is profitable, not only in terms of money, but some form of value, whether name, fame, glory, or a solution, no one wins. So if everyone makes something, everyone wins. So that's what Fibroil has done. And human to human level, they have shown the supremacy of the product, performance of the product, and that's how we have been able to win customers. And we have not done any advertisement. It's edge to edge connects, what we say, human to human connects. Based on that, we have been able to do that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Participants are requested, if they have any question, they can unmute and they should ask.
In case someone wants to get in touch with us, these are
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Sorry, sir. Good evening. Sir, I had one doubt. सर जैसे आपने अभी बताया कि आपके केस में ह्यूमन टू ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन वर्क किया था, लेकिन आज के जमाने में अगर हम अपना कोई भी बिजनेस या कोई भी एंटरप्राइज सेटअप करते हैं एंड इफ वी वांट टू सेल आवर प्रोडक्ट, देन व्हाट अकॉर्डिंग
सॉरी
यूज द बेस्ट ऑप्शन जिससे हम कस्टमर से डील कर सके, लाइक हम अपना एडवर्टाइजमेंट कर सके?
अपना एडवर्टाइजमेंट कर सकें, डिपेंड ऑन क्या बिजनेस है। अगर जैसे आप बात करती हो डायरेक्ट टू कंज्यूमर प्रोडक्ट है आपका, मेरे केस में मेरे कंज्यूमर कौन है, कस्टमर कौन है, हॉस्पिटल्स और सर्जन्स हैं। तो अगर मैं फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम में ऐड चलाऊं तो क्या मेरा कोई बेनिफिट होगा? नहीं होगा। तो मुझे ह्यूमन टू ह्यूमन कनेक्ट चाहिए होगा, क्योंकि मुझे मेरे प्रोडक्ट में घाव भर के दिखाना होता है। आप ऐसा अगर कोई प्रोडक्ट बनाते हो जो कि कोई जूस है, कोई ये है, या कोई प्रोडक्ट है हेल्थ केयर रिलेटेड है, या कोई ऐसा सर्विस है, उस केस में आपके लिए वो काम करेगा। अगेन डिपेंड्स ऑन द प्रोडक्ट रेंज, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द टारगेट मार्केट, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द डेमोग्राफी, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द प्रोफाइल ऑफ द यूजर। अगर आपके यूजर्स जो हैं, जो किसान हैं, वो बहुत ज्यादा शायद सोशल मीडिया पे नहीं होंगे, तो उनके लिए आपको वॉल पेंटिंग, एफएम पे देना, रेडियो पे ऐड देना, या जो रैली होती है मोटरसाइकिल की रैली करवाना कि 100 लोग एक साथ मोटरसाइकिल से उस गांव के एरिया से क्रॉस करें, वो चीजें ज्यादा फर्क कर सकती हैं। वैसे ही एग्जैक्टली आपका प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस क्या है, उस हिसाब से अनुष्का यू कैन डिसाइड कि क्या चीज मेरे प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस के लिए सुटेबल होगा।
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू।
नमस्कार सर।
नमस्ते चंदन।
सर हम बिहार मधुबनी से बोल रहे हैं। सर हम लोग जो है सो मशरूम प्रोडक्शन और ट्रेनिंग करवाते हैं यहाँ पर। उसमें एक हम लोग ने 2022 में एक नया कॉन्सेप्ट किए हैं कि एक CIG बनाए हैं, कॉमन इंटरेस्ट ग्रुप मशरूम का।
करेक्ट।
और उसमें हमने एक ग्रुप में 5 से 10 महिला को रखे हैं, और वो एक ब्लॉक के 2 ब्लॉक के अंतर्गत अभी 5 ग्रुप बन गए हैं, डेवलप हुए हैं, और लीड हम ही कर रहे हैं प्रोग्राम को। तो उसमें ऑस्टर मशरूम बिहार में ज्यादा हो रहा है, क्योंकि बटन मशरूम के लिए एनवायरनमेंट सही नहीं है और काफी एक्सपेंसिव भी है, तो हम लोग ऑस्टर मशरूम कर रहे हैं। सर वो महिला लोग का प्रोडक्शन भी स्टार्ट हो चुका है, अभी नवंबर टू मार्च काफी अच्छा ऑस्टर मशरूम हो रहा है यहाँ पर। लेकिन सर वो लोग को एक्चुअली ग्राउंड लेवल पर मार्केटिंग बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, आइडिया भी नहीं है, एक्सपीरियंस भी नहीं है हम लोगों को उतना। तो वो जो महिला है, हम लोग चाह रहे हैं कि अब लगातार किसी को बहुत दिन तक आप सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं लॉन्ग टाइम, तो उनको कोई स्ट्रेटजी ऐसा है या कोई है जो उनको बता सके हम लोग कि उनको कैसे सेल करना है, या फिर कोई ऐसा ग्रुप कंपनी है जो वहां से बायर कर सकते हैं, ले सकते हैं सर? उसके लिए बहुत ज्यादा हम लोग तकलीफ में हैं और वो महिला लोग काफी ग्रास रूट लेवल पे हैं। हम पर्सनली 500 रुपीज से स्टार्टअप स्टार्ट किए हैं मशरूम को। जिस रूम में सोते हैं उस रूम के पलंग के खाट के नीचे में, जिसको एक ही रूम है गांव में, हम उसके नीचे में भी व्यवस्था करके उसको काम स्टार्टअप किए हैं। तो वो लोग काफी इंटरेस्टेड हैं सर, लेकिन मार्केटिंग में बहुत कमजोर है सर।
तो आपकी परेशानी हमें समझ में आई। नाउ देखिए 3 4 5 रास्ते होते हैं। यहाँ देखिए 213 लोग हैं इस पूरे पार्टिसिपेंट के ग्रुप में, मतलब 213 शार्प ब्रेन और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप मेकिंग है इस ग्रुप में। मैं एक सिंपल भाषा में बताऊं, फॉरगेट आप दूसरा एरिया, आप खाली बिहार देखिए। बिहार के अंदर कितने सारे गवर्नमेंट, और बिहार में खाली गवर्नमेंट सेटअप देखिए, कितने डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, हर तरह के डिपार्टमेंट है, पुलिस फोर्स है, ट्रेनिंग एकेडमी है, मिलिट्री है, आपके और बहुत सारी चीजें हैं। आप इन सब में साधिए जो उनके इंडस्ट्री के मिनिस्टर हैं, इस गवर्नमेंट का शायद हम नहीं जानते, इसके पहले शायद शाहनवाज हुसैन जी थे, उसके पहले से जो इंडस्ट्री और रिसर्च मिनिस्टर है, आप उन्हें रीच आउट कीजिए, अपनी कॉलिंग दीजिए। और ट्रस्ट में ये सारे जो आप लोग जो प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, ये पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट को ही अगर मैं पकड़ता हूँ सिंपल, तो प्रोबेबली उनके 3 या 4 टाइम का खाना है। मानते हैं मिश्रा जी?
जी सर, यस सर, 100% सर, सही बता रहे हैं।
मार्केट मिल गया?
जी सर, जी सर। हाँ, इस टाइप से मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटजी नहीं किए थे सर हम लोग।
बस हम वही बता रहे हैं ना कि बहुत सिंपल तरीका बता रहे हैं कि दुनिया में हम लोग कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सोचते हैं। कॉम्प्लिकेटेड मत सोचिए ना, जिंदगी बड़ी सीधी सादी सिंपल सी है। सिंपल तरीका सोचिए। आपको बिहार के बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि बाहर आप भेजेंगे आपको लॉजिस्टिक्स हो गया, कोल्ड चेन हो गया, ये सारी चीजें लगेंगी। आपके तो कंजम्पशन बिहार में ही हो जाएगा जितना प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, और पर्टिकुलरली 3 4 डिस्ट्रिक्ट के अंदर ही हो जाएगा। आप मिलिए डीएम साहब से, मिलिए, बात कीजिए सीधा, और गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट करने को तैयार है। ऐसे लोगों को गवर्नमेंट फंड करने को तैयार बैठी है। तो आप जाइए मिश्रा जी, हमारी शुभकामनाएं हैं, और कभी भी कोई हेल्प सपोर्ट लगेगा, अगर हुआ तो हम अपने एंड से जो भी कर सकें करेंगे, बट मार्केट हिसाब से आपको यही करना उचित रहेगा आपके लिए। धन्यवाद।
ओके, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
हेलो, गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग
सर, सेम गोज फॉर देहरादून ऑल्सो।
आवाज आपकी थोड़ी साफ नहीं आ रही है यार।
सर, सेम गोज फॉर देहरादून ऑल्सो। देहरादून
सेम गोज फॉर एवरीवेयर वेयर ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आर अलाइव। जहां जितनी पॉपुलेशन, वहां उतनी बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी। पॉपुलेशन इज द बिगेस्ट स्कोप ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, तो यूटिलाइज इट टू योर एडवांटेज।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।
हेलो सर।
हेलो
सर, क्या हम प्रोडक्शन कम एरिया में ज्यादा अमाउंट का कर सकते हैं? जैसे हमारे वो अब चल रही है फार्मिंग, वो वाटर के ऊपर चल रही है
जी।
तो क्या मशरूम भी हमारे वाटर के ऊपर ऐड ले सकते हैं? जिससे
मैडम आप भी मैडम मशरूम उगा रही हो?
नहीं सर, हम पूछ रहे हैं उस बारे में।
हाँ, तो जरूरी क्यों है? सिर्फ मशरूम ही नहीं, आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो। वाटरिंग आपके ऊपर जिस चीज का स्कोप है, आप चाहो तो आप मखाने भी बना सकते हो, उसका भी मार्केट में बहुत डिमांड है, वो भी एग्री रिलेटेड प्रोडक्ट है। सिर्फ ये नहीं देखिए कि आपके पास जो एरिया है, जो लैंड है, या जो सिस्टम्स है, वो किसके लिए ज्यादा रिलेवेंट है, और उस हिसाब से आप बनाइए। ट्रस्ट में हर कोई बोलता है कि रातों रात आप अमीर बन जाओगे, 10 लाख कमा लोगे, 20 लाख कमा लोगे, 50 लाख कमा लोगे। ट्रस्ट में पैसा बट नहीं रहा है, ये मैं बहुत ही कड़वा सत्य बता रहा हूँ। आपको कोई भी चीज करके, कोई आदमी धान बेच के करोड़ों कमाएगा, और कोई आदमी फैंसी स्टफ करके भी कुछ नहीं बनाएगा। इसीलिए आप ये देखिए कि आपके एरिया में स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, स्लो एंड स्टडी एंड सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस बनाइए। एंड मैं आपको दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ कि स्लो, स्टडी और सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस जो आपके एरिया से रिलेवेंट है, वो बनाएंगे तो आप सक्सेसफुल रहेंगे। स्टेप बाय स्टेप लीजिए, एक साथ 4 सीढ़ी चढ़ने की कोशिश मत कीजिए, 1 सीढ़ी 2 सीढ़ी ही चढ़िए, आप सक्सेसफुल होंगी। ठीक है?
वाटर के ऊपर हम फार्मिंग करते हैं, तो वो कौन सी क्रॉप्स जो वाटर के ऊपर हो सकती है हमारी, ताकि हमारे पास।
अगर आप बता सको क्या बोल रहे हैं, मुझे क्वेश्चन क्लियरली समझ में नहीं आ रहे हैं।
सर मैं कह रही हूँ सर मैं ये कह रही हूँ कि जैसे हमारी आजकल की फार्मिंग हो रही है, वाटर के ऊपर हो रही है
जी।
तो सर क्या हमारी ये मशरूम की और दूसरी कोई फार्मिंग ऐसी है जो वाटर के ऊपर हो सकती है? क्योंकि ज्यादातर फार्मिंग वो स्पेनिश की हरी चीजों की हो रही है वाटर के ऊपर, कम स्पेस में ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन। और रोज का रोज अब प्रोडक्शन होता है उसमें, तो ये क्या हमारा मशरूम और अदर क्रॉप्स के लिए भी हो सकता है?
नहीं, बहुत सारे क्रॉप्स के लिए, सिर्फ मशरूम ने, बहुत सारे क्रॉप्स है जिसपे होता है यार इस तरह का। अगर आपको सिंपल सी बात बताओ, आप बोल रहे हो पानी के ऊपर, आपको पता है लोटस में भी बहुत सारे अच्छे इंग्रेडिएंट्स होते हैं। आप लोटस की खेती करके भी बहुत सारी चीजें निकाल सकती हो और उससे भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस बन सकते हैं। आई एम श्योर जो ऑडियंस है वो एग्री करेंगे। तो वो आपके, हमें नहीं पता आप किस एरिया से बोल रही हो, क्या क्या है वहां पे, तो मैं कमेंट नहीं कर पाऊंगा। बट आप अपने हिसाब से जो सबसे रिलेवेंट जो प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस है जो आप बना सके वो बनाइए, और उस हिसाब से आप डेफिनेटली सक्सेसफुल होंगे, हमारा ये कहना है। क्योंकि हमें नहीं पता और वो चीज के लिए हमें एनालिसिस करना पड़ेगा बड़े लेवल पे कि क्या हो सकता है क्या नहीं। तो अभी शायद ये फोरम सही नहीं है, लेकिन वहां पे जो आपके एरिया से रिलेवेंट है आप उस हिसाब से कीजिए। आपको पता है कि आपके एरिया में सबसे अच्छा क्या हो सकता है। और याद रखिए, कोई भी जो नेचुरल प्रोडक्ट है, जो एग्री रिलेटेड प्रोडक्ट है, उसकी अपॉर्चुनिटी है। आपको सही मार्केट आइडेंटिफाई करना है, समझ गए? वो आप करेंगे तो आप सक्सेसफुल होंगे।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।
Sir, on the behalf of one student, I'm asking,
Sure.
if anyone wants to start agribusiness but have main challenge is fund. So, which all there are agencies to funding for agribusiness, private or government, both you can tell.
तो गवर्नमेंट के केस में आपके सबसे पहले जाइए, इंडियन सीड फंड है, 10,000 करोड़ का फंड है, जो फंड ऑफ फंड्स जो गवर्नमेंट ने अनाउंस किया था। आप लोग कोई उससे लेते ही नहीं हो फंड, वो पैसे फंड ऐसे ही पड़े हुए हैं गवर्नमेंट के पास। निर्मला सीतारमन जी बोल रही है कि कोई ले ही नहीं रहा है, क्योंकि किसी के पास आइडिया ही नहीं, कोई एग्जीक्यूट ही करना नहीं चाह रहा है। पॉइंट नंबर 1, हर स्टेट के पास एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप सेल के लिए बजट रेडी है। हर डीएम के पास बजट है कि आप एक स्टार्टअप को सपोर्ट कीजिए। बहुत सारे एनजीओ ग्रुप्स है। और ये भी बता दूं कि आपके हर जिला में, हर गांव में कोई ना कोई सेठ जी और महाराज जी होते हैं जिनके पास बहुत पैसे होते हैं, जो अपने फंड जिनके पास होता नहीं है, उनको अगर आप लगता है कि आप उनसे पैसे लेने की कोशिश कीजिए। वही जो प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात करते हैं, जिसे हम सोफिस्टिकेटेड टर्म में एंजल इन्वेस्टर कहते हैं। Friends and families, angel investors, pre or seed money, then you move into VC funds, then you move into Series A fund, Series B fund, Series C fund, and goes on. And you exit it to private equity or a strategic investor or a IPO. ये जनरली स्टेप्स होते हैं। बट अभी ये लेवल पे नहीं है। आप सिंपल सोचिए कि सबसे पहले फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली से कैसे लगा सकते हैं, और दूसरा कि जो गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे है, गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे बहुत सारे स्कीम्स हैं। जैसे अगर आप बायोटेक रिलेटेड है, एग्री रिलेटेड है, तो ये सब में बायरेक एक बॉडी है डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ बायोटेक के अंदर, BIRAC, उसके साथ आप अप्लाई कीजिए, जो कि बहुत सारा फंड देती है, जो BIG बोलते हैं, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी इग्निशन ग्रांट। या आप किसी भी एग्री यूनिवर्सिटी में जाइए, उसके पास अपना फंड है आज के डेट पे। वो लोग आपको 3 लाख, 5 लाख, 15 लाख से 50 लाख रुपए तक आराम से दे सकते हैं सीड स्टेज में, जिसे आइडिया टू POC कहा जाता है, आइडिया टू प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट। सो वहां तक आप आराम से आपको मिल सकता है। तो वही मैं बताया, लेकिन एक बार जैसे आप ग्रो करते हो, आपको प्राइवेट फंडिंग लेने की जरूरत पड़ती है। तो आप शुरू में एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट लेते हैं, फिर उसके वजह से एक एग्जाम्पल बताओ। सपोज कीजिए कोई बहुत बढ़िया काम कर रहा है वुंड हीलिंग के एरिया में, प्रोडक्ट उसका अच्छा है, स्कोप है, तो आपको नहीं लगता कि अगर वो फाइब्रो हील को लिखता है तो फाइब्रो हील को थोड़ा इंटरेस्ट आएगा?
Yes, sir.
ऐसे ही सबका एरिया होता है। कोई सीड की कंपनी है, कोई ऑयस्टर की कंपनी है, कोई मशरूम की कंपनी है, कोई क्रेब की कंपनी है, कोई फिश की कंपनी है। हर कोई एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है, इंक्लूडिंग मीट, पोल्ट्री, सब कुछ का। जो जिस एरिया में काम कर रहा है, उसको उस एरिया से जब कुछ मिलेगा तो डेफिनेटली वो इंटरेस्टेड होगा। तो अगर कोई वुंड पे अच्छा काम कर रहा है, हमारे पास आता है, तो नहीं लगता कि 10, 20, 50 लाख से फाइब्रो हील भी सपोर्ट कर सकता है? क्या आप अच्छा करो और आगे चल के मार्केटिंग एफर्ट हम देंगे आपको, हमारी टीम का एक्सेस रहेगा आपको। दैट्स हाउ इंडस्ट्रीज आर बिल्ट। लेकिन
Yes, sir.
मैटर ये कि अगर आप सोचोगे कि पहले कोई पैसा देगा तो मैं शुरू करूंगा या करूंगी, तो वो नहीं होने वाला। याद रखिएगा कि जब आप तेज दौड़ने लगोगे तो कोई आके आपको नाइकी के जूते दे देगा, लेकिन आप शुरू में सोचोगे कि कोई एक्शन के और कैंपस के भी जूते दे दे तो कोई नहीं देगा। जब तक बोलते हैं ना कि जो चमक रहा होता है, लोग उसी पे दाव लगाते हैं। तो ये जरूरी है कि आप पहला कदम चल के एक्शन दिखाइए। आइडिया, देयर इज नो वैल्यू फॉर आइडिया, देयर इज ह्यूज वैल्यू फॉर एग्जीक्यूशन। I hope I have
Thank you
cleared.
so much, sir. Very well said, sir. Thank you so much.
गुड इवनिंग सर।
Good evening.
सर मैं टीम जस्ट एग्रीकल्चर से ही बात कर रहा हूँ।
जी परेश,
मैं आपसे
बताइए।
जस्ट एक रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा सर। एक तो आज के टाइम पे एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में 2 तरह के लोग हैं।
जी
एक है जो बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं या स्टार्टअप बनाना चाहते हैं, उनके पास
जी
बस आइडियाज ही हैं जो आपने अभी बताया।
जी
सेकंड, एक हमारा एक बहुत बड़ा सेक्टर है जो 4-5 स्टेट से आ रहा है, जिसमें
जी
यूपी, बिहार, राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश, झारखंड के लोग हैं।
जी
वो स्टार्टअप में नहीं आना चाहते, जो एग्रीकल्चर के स्टूडेंट है, जो प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी में खास
जी
कर कहूँ,
जी
वो सिर्फ जॉब ढूंढ रहे हैं।
जी
और उनका जो टारगेट है कि जॉब चाहिए, और उनको ये नहीं पता कि हमारे पास पहले स्किल होगी तब जॉब देगा। अब आप जैसे, अब आपका बिजनेस है, अब आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज द ऑल द यू वेंचर, बट बच्चे जनरली क्या करते हैं, आपको जैसे मैसेज कर देंगे, अभी मेल कर देंगे, अभी व्हाट्सएप करेंगे, सर कितनी सैलरी दोगे, बीइंग एज एन फाउंडर, आप बताइए, आपको ये नहीं पता बंदा कौन है, कहाँ से है, आप 1 लाख रुपए थोड़ी दे दोगे उसको, ठीक है? तो
मैं
ये
सिंपल से
माइंड सेट इनको थोड़ा गाइड कीजिए, ये माइंड सेटअप थोड़ा अपना क्लियर करें कि जॉब ये नहीं है कि आप किसी को भी मैसेज करो कि मेरे को जॉब चाहिए और कितनी सैलरी दोगे, ठीक है? सैलरी आपके स्किल से जज की जाती है पहले तो, और आप पहले सीखिए। मतलब इंडिया का जो अभी यूथ है ना 18 से 22 वाला, वो सीखने की तरफ तो है ही नहीं है ना, हम लर्निंग स्टेज में नहीं है, हम सीधे बस अर्निंग पे पड़ रहे हैं।
बस
सेम
ब-
जो स्टार्टअप्स और एग्री बिजनेस वाले जो लोग हैं वो भी अब इसी चक्कर में पड़ गए। आज हम
करेक्ट,
यूनिकॉर्न स्टार्टअप्स को तो देख रहे हैं, इसकी
करेक्ट,
इतनी वैल्यूएशन है, इसकी इतनी वैल्यूएशन है,
करेक्ट।
बट वी आर नॉट लुकिंग कि एग्जीक्यूशन, एक वैल्यू, एक आइडिया, एक प्रोडक्ट, उसको प्रोडक्ट को एग्जीक्यूट करके, मतलब अगर हम एप्पल की बात करें, एप्पल कोई 2 दिन में थोड़ी बन गई है, फेसबुक कोई 4 दिन में थोड़ी आ गई थी, ठीक है? या कोई भी ब्रांड इंडियन की बात करें, टाटा 100 100 साल, 50 50 साल हो गए हैं इनको लगे हुए। सो इट इज नॉट कि आपने बस, जैसे हम शार्क टैंक देख के ना आजकल हर बंदे को लग रहा है कि स्टार्टअप एक बहुत
पर,
छोटी सी चीज है, ठीक है?
परेश, यहाँ मैं आपको थोड़ा सा रोक के और मैं बताऊंगा ये क्यों ऐसा है। क्योंकि
जी
हमारी जो ये आपने 18 से 22 वाला ग्रुप बोला ना, ये
जी,
बहुत व्यस्त है टिकटॉक और इंस्टाग्राम रील्स में।
ये सबसे बड़ी देश की समस्या है ये।
यही रीजन है कि इनको ग्राउंड रियलिटी से अलग है। दूसरी बात बता दूं, जो परेश जी, जब पूरे दर्शकों के लिए या पूरे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जो परेश ने बताया बिल्कुल सही बताया। ट्रस्ट में, अगर आप हमें कोई लिखता है कि हमें जॉब चाहिए, मैं जॉब नहीं दूंगा। हमारी नीचे वाले जो टीम है और उसके नीचे वाली टीम है, जॉब वो देने वाली है, मैं नहीं देने वाला हूँ। हमें रिजल्ट चाहिए। अगर हमारे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से, सेल्स मार्केटिंग से, R&D से, सप्लाई चेन से ये एक्स चाहिए,
हम्म।
तो हम उसके डिपार्टमेंट हेड को बुला के बोलेंगे हमें एक्स चाहिए। उसके लिए उसके हिसाब का टीम चाहिए, वो बंदा डिसाइड करेगा उसे कैसे टीम चाहिए। तो आपने बोला कि हमने कंपनी के फाउंडर को लिख दिया, तो ट्रस्ट मी, फाउंडर्स आर द मोस्ट यूजलेस ह्यूमन बींग्स ऑफ द कंपनी। उनको एक गोल होता है, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प यू एनीवे। मैं, मेरी औकात नहीं है एक बंदे को जॉब देने की। मेरे नीचे वाले जो बंदे हैं उनकी औकात है जॉब देने की, क्योंकि मैं उनसे क्वेश्चन करूंगा।
एग्जैक्टली।
मेरे मेरे इन्वेस्टर्स मुझसे क्वेश्चन करेंगे, मेरा बोर्ड मुझसे क्वेश्चन करेगा, उनसे उनकी, अब उनकी टीम को वो क्वेश्चन करेंगे। तो अल्टीमेटली जो उनके नीचे वाले हैं वो बोलेंगे कि हमको इस हिसाब के
इसमें
बंदे
सर
चाहिए।
एक्चुअल में ना हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम का भी बहुत बड़ा एक लूप होल है कि हमें 10th से लेके ग्रेजुएशन तक यही नहीं बताया जाता कि एक कंपनी में बिजनेस क्या है ना, ये तो है ही नहीं हमारे सिलेबस में।
करेक्ट,
और HR का रोल क्या है, मतलब प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन में आजकल तो चलो इनको पता चल गया है कि प्लेसमेंट के लिए कंपनीज आती हैं, नहीं तो जो हम हमारे टाइम पे जब हम पढ़े हैं, HR क्या है यही नहीं पता आधी दुनिया को, तो यही नहीं
करेक्ट,
पता कि HR के थ्रू जाना है कंपनी, हमारा माई बाप HR है, ठीक है?
करेक्ट,
हमें आधे आधे एम्प्लॉइज को तो पता ही नहीं होता फाउंडर। अब
करेक्ट। तो
अडानी की हजारों कंपनीज हैं, ठीक है? किसी को ये थोड़ी पता, उसने चिट्ठी थोड़ी लिखनी मेरे को सैलरी नहीं है, अडानी को थोड़ी लिख दोगे आप,
करेक्ट।
ठीक है?
और
आपका आपका 4G का नेटवर्क लो है, आप अपने कंपनी ऑपरेटर, अब अंबानी जी को थोड़ी सीधी मेल डाल दोगे। ये
करेक्ट,
चीजें मतलब इनको अभी बताने की जरूरत, सीखने की जरूरत है। सेकंडली
बिल्कुल,
एक
बिल्कुल,
बहुत बड़ा
बिल्कुल,
इशू क्या है,
बिल,
अब
बिल,
कल सर एक गोयंका सर हैं,
हाँ,
मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर हैं फरीदाबाद से, तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली, कहते कि मेरे को हजारों कॉल आते हैं, मतलब वो भी ऐसे इंटरेक्शन राउंड करने लग गए, बीच में ही बच्चा एक पूछने लग गया BSc का, सर मेरे को जॉब चाहिए, कोई बताइए, आप यूपी में हो तो। सर कहते मैं तेरे को 1 लाख रुपया महीने पे रख रहा हूँ, तू मेरे को कितने कमा के देगा वो बता मेरे को। ये बेसिक पॉइंट है फाउंडर्स का, ठीक है? आपका भी
करेक्ट,
बिजनेस है, मतलब हमारा भी बिजनेस है, फाउंडर आपसे यही पूछेगा ना, मैं आपको 2 लाख 5 लाख रुपया महीना पे भी रख रहा हूँ, आपके पास क्या है जो मेरी कंपनी का टर्नओवर 2 करोड़ से 10 करोड़ कर दूं, मैं देता हूँ
करेक्ट,
आपको।
करेक्ट,
वो उस चीज के क्वेश्चन मार्क के आगे हमारा यूथ, मतलब क्रिएटिविटी है, बट हमें करना क्या है, कैसे करना है, वहां तक हम अभी भी लैग कर रहे हैं। तो आई थिंक बहुत सारे ऐसे जैसे हम ये कर रहे हैं अपने प्लेटफॉर्म से, स्टूडेंट्स को पता होनी चाहिए, ये बेसिक चीजें हैं। पहले आपके पास स्किल हो, आपको करना क्या है, ठीक है? आप पहली बात है जो 18 या 16 से लेके चलते, 16 से 22 की एज में ये 6 साल अगर आप सीखने पे लगा दोगे ना, 22 की एज में आप ऑब्वियसली अर्न करोगे, कहीं से भी करो। मैं नहीं कहता हूँ कि यूट्यूब से कर लो, चाहे आप इंस्टाग्राम से, लोग कमा रहे हैं सर, इधर लोग आपने देखे कितने अच्छे अच्छे यूट्यूब चैनल अब तो चल गए हैं लोगों के। मतलब एजुकेशन से अगर हम फिजिक्स वाला की बात करें, या बहुत ऐसे, मतलब एजुटेक भी कंपनीज बना दी लोगों ने 8-8 हजार करोड़ की। बट द थिंग इज दैट यू हैव टू वर्क फॉर दैट, यू हैव टू, वो हमें वो दिख रहा है ना आगे, इतने मिलियन है जी, आज इस कंपनी का इतना करोड़ टर्नओवर हो गया जी, यूनिकॉर्न हो गई, अब तो बाईजूस ने, बस जी, अब कतर में जाके वहां पर भी बाईजूस ही दिख रहा है, विराट कोहली की टी-शर्ट पे भी बाईजूस ही है। बट बाईजूस ने उसके पहले जो 10 साल लगाए हैं उसके ऊपर किसी का फोकस नहीं है। तो हमारे यूथ को वो जो 2-4 साल 5 साल की, जिसको बोलते हैं ना सर हम बिजनेस में घिसाई करने को कोई तैयार नहीं है। पैसा लेने के लिए सारे बैठे हैं, चाहे आप स्टार्टअप में आ जाओ चाहे आप एम्प्लॉइज आ जाओ। तो मतलब मेरी भी यही एक स्टूडेंट्स को है एक रिक्वेस्ट, और आप भी थोड़ा इनको यही बताइए कि आप पहले सीखने पे बहुत फोकस कीजिए।
करेक्ट।
आपकी नॉलेज बहुत होगी, फाउंडर के पास जाके आप उसको 10 सॉल्यूशन बता दो ना, फाउंडर ऐसे ही खुश हो जाता है कि भाई साहब ये बंदा बढ़िया है। तो आप इनको थोड़ा उस तरीके में गाइड कीजिए।
नमस्कार सर।
नमस्ते, बताइए चंदन।
सर वो अभी जो सर बात कर रहे थे जस्ट एग्रीकल्चर का, हम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दे रहे हैं। और सर जो ये बात बता रहे हैं, हम एक चीज बताना चाहते हैं जस्ट एग्रीकल्चर से, यदि संभव हो। हम फर्स्ट टाइम जुड़े हैं इनसे और बहुत अच्छा हम सब सेशन इन्वॉल्व। हम बिहार से हैं सर। एक बार जस्ट एग्रीकल्चर कोई इस प्रकार का ऑनलाइन या ऑफलाइन कोई कार्यक्रम करें हम लोगों के लिए, खास करके बिहार, यूपी और झारखंड, उड़ीसा, 4 स्टेट हम देख रहे हैं प्रोग्राम को। सर एग्रीकल्चर में जो ग्रास रूट लेवल पर जो फार्मिंग कर रहे हैं किसान, सर हम बिहार की बात कर रहे हैं, हम पूरे इंडिया की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। बिहार में सिचुएशन ये है कि 99% जो फार्मिंग हो रही है बिहार में, वो अंदाजा पे हो रही है। वो कोई भी उसका मतलब लॉजिकल क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है, क्यों इतना डाल रहे हैं, प्रिसाइज क्यों डाल रहे हैं, किस मौसम में कर रहे हैं, जो 1960-65 में जो पॉलिसी है, वो किसान जो है 90% किसान उसी पॉलिसी पे कर रहे हैं। और उसका नतीजा है कि उसका रिजल्ट आज बहुत खराब है रियल में। एक दूसरा है कि जो भी गवर्नमेंट के सर पॉलिसी एफपीओ हो रहा है अभी, और जहां भी हम मीटिंग में जा रहे हैं, यहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉर्टिकल्चर अफसर हैं और एग्रीकल्चर अफसर हैं, हम सबके साथ मीटिंग में जाते हैं। वो लोग पूरे प्लानिंग बताते हैं, लेकिन उस प्लानिंग में जो नीचे बैठे हैं, जिनके लिए वो काम करना है एफपीओ के अंतर्गत, उनको वो प्लानिंग जीरो है। क्योंकि आधा घंटा में एफपीओ का कॉन्सेप्ट आप नहीं बता सकते हैं उस किसान को, जिसमें से 70% किसान लिटरेट है। तो हमारा कहना है कि कार्यक्रम यदि आप कर रहे हैं, ये जस्ट एग्रीकल्चर जो हमको इनपुट दिया है और जो हम देखे, हम बहुत सरप्राइज हैं कि इसका 0.10% भी ग्रास रूट लेवल पर जो एग्रीकल्चर
आई विल कैरी ऑन, क्योंकि मेरा एक अलग मीटिंग है। और कुछ ना हो तो आप लोग कैरी ऑन कीजिए, मैं निकलता हूँ।
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time and inspiring talk. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
So, without any further delay, I would like to ask Himani ma'am to take over the session for the next guest to join. Himani ma'am.
Yes, Preeti.
Over to you.
Yeah. Just wait a minute. So a very good evening to everyone. Myself Himani Gautam, Vice President Just Agriculture, the magazine. So it is my indeed pleasure and foremost duty to welcome you all in this program. And now taking the program to the next segment, I would like to invite our next guest speaker, Dr. Hanish Kumar Sinha, Professor, National Institute of Securities Markets. So before inviting sir to deliver his informative and insightful talk, I would like to introduce sir to our participants of Agriculture 4.0. So sir is armed with the PhD degree in agricultural economics in 2002 from Banaras Hindu University, and Dr. Hanish Kumar Sinha has over 20 years of working experience in the field of agriculture, which includes over 9 years of experience in commodities future and equally over 11 years of experience in agri warehousing. So he is a recognized Sigma 6 black belt and successful business analyst. Recently, he was associated with the National Institute of Security Markets, an educational initiative by SEBI, as Professor of Practice for Commodities, where he developed the e-learning module of the Commodity Warehousing Management, comprising of about 68 lectures dealing with the various aspects of commodity warehousing industry. So he was earlier associated with National Bulk Handling Corporation, where he was leading the commodity research team and was involved in the role of commodity valuation, risk management, and business advisory. So prior to joining this firm, Dr. Sinha was heading the Trade and Commodity Intelligence Group at National Collateral Management Service Limited. He has been associated with the compilation and writing of India Commodity Yearbook for 2011, 12, 13, and 14. So he has also prepared case study reports for banks and other leading organizations on commodities including gold, copper, crude, zira, pepper, sugar, turmeric, edible oil complex, sugar, and other major products traded on exchange. So he has worked for a reputed institution like JB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar, IRI New Delhi, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, and with purely academic research objective. So Dr. Sinha's exposure to commodity began way back in 2003. With Indian Agribusiness System Private Limited, where he worked as a research head, and later he was associated as a lead research analyst with several leading broking houses, namely Angel Commodity Broking Private Limited, Motilal Oswal Securities Limited. So being an industry stalwart, Dr. Sinha has made a notable contribution across point and electronic media as commodity expert, and has shared valuable insight with regards to commodities market on G Business, NDTV Profit, ET Now, CNBC Awaj, Business Standard, Economics Time, and other business channel and print media. So he has authored 2 books. One is Copper and other is Understanding Indian Commodity Market. So as a distinguished speaker, Dr. Sinha has been a part of the following recent industry platforms: the Pulses Conclave 2020, and CILT India Expo, New Delhi, MOPA Mustard Seminar, Agra, Globe Oil Conference, and Second Wellness Indian Expo, New Delhi. So, sir, it is clearly evident from your work, experience, and expertise that you are such an eminent personality, and Team Just Agriculture is very honored to have you on board. So, without wasting much time, I would like to request you to enlighten our participants of this training with your knowledge. So, welcome, sir, and over to you. Sir, you are on mute.
Now it's clear?
Yeah, sir, now it's good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vani, for such a elaborate introduction of mine, basically. Simply in basically a couple of words, I will tell. I'll just reading the market and explaining what the market says for a common purpose. My basic job is to interpret the market as and when the events happens. So without wasting further time, basically, I will just like to basically with this presentation, I would like to show how the commodities, which is basically well known to everybody. I think basically because in every sphere of life, basically you use commodity, whether it is an academic financial commodity, whether it is an agricultural commodity, or by be it anything, you always use them in your life, particular. Then moving forward, basically, just a second.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Can you put your PPT on slideshow mode?
Just again, this is not there.
No, sir.
Okay. Just now it is shared.
No, sir.
Okay, I'll just reshare the graphic. Now are you able to view the screen?
Sir, I can see the screen, but it's not on the slideshow mode.
Hello? Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, sir, I can see the screen.
Okay, great. Hope I am audible also. I will just like to basically put on the agenda for the presentation. Initially, I would like to introduce the commodity, though you are all very much aware of the commodity field. But commodity as a career option, we need to basically focus on few things which can define your career in a big way. First is what I will in the first place I would like to deal with what is commodity, what are the different types of commodity being traded, and how your role can be fitting in different sectors. The second part would be the importance of commodity. and the status of agribusiness in India. This is a very important section. I think we should all be very much concentrating on this fact, because this will tell you where India actually lies in terms of the agribusiness industry. And then we'll come to the specifics. I will deal a couple of things about the Indian warehousing industry, then the collateral or the trade finance market, which is currently quite a big way, and the application of modern technology in basically helping you in functioning of both the warehousing as well as the collateral financing market. For the start, I will just go in a brief way. What is commodity? Commodity, I think everybody knows. Is it possible to interact in between the lecture if it is possible? Anybody can just put on the mics and then have an basically answer or give their views on this. Is it possible to do that, Levi?
Yes, sir. We can have an interactive session.
Yeah, that will be fine, basically.
Okay, sir. No problem. Participants, if you have any query, you can raise your hands or you can just drop your queries in the chat box.
Once we talk to the basically talk about the commodity market, the first question arises: what is connectivity? What is commodity as such? The basic nature of the commodity must be tangible. It should be bought or sold and has to be on the scarce level of supplies, because unless the commodity is scarce, nobody is going to pay for that. Anyone can, if you can explain what is the commodity? Hello?
Yes, sir.
The voice is not clear. I think somebody was just telling.
Yeah, sir, but the voice is not clear. I'm just trying to find out that only, that what has just happened.
No issues. We will proceed further. Second part is the economic definition of commodity. First is the nature of the commodity. It should be tangible. It should be bought and sold. And the other thing is that the important peculiarity or the feature is that it should be scarce. And if you go for the economic definition of commodity, it has to be produced either on soil or it has to be mined if it is a non-agricultural commodity, and has to be accepted universally. Then the next property is the fungibility, because it has to be interchangeable within the commodities. Then the other important commodities properties would be the natural resource. It has to be having a large price fluctuation, because if the price fluctuation is existing in the commodity, that means a lot of risk is involved in the process of transaction. And in order to mitigate those transactions, we need to cover up obviously different means. So once we study the commodity at each and every steps, different level of expertise is needed to understand the nature of business basically. Suppose I'll just give you an example. Suppose there is a large price for one commodity like wheat, which is being traded in India. If there is a large price fluctuation, then it would be meaning having a different meaning for the farmers. It would be having a different meaning for the traders and differently for the consumers also. Farmers may be thinking whether I will be getting a higher price or a lower price once we basically download the commodity into the market. The traders will be basically eyeing up on the higher price, whether the prices are going to move up or move down. And the final consumer, whether the commodity is basically or the final product is going to be on the cheaper side or on the dearer side. So at each and every step, a lot of stakeholders basically come and change hands. And if you study all the stakeholders, they are an enterprise in their own capacity.
Sir, you are on mute.
Just a second. That's okay.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay, fine. Now, we are depending upon the nature of the commodities, there are different types of commodities. The first, if you I just told you that there could be some of the agricultural commodities could be there. soft, which are called as a soft commodity. Basically, in the soft commodity categories, there are major categories of commodities. One would be the cereals, it could be pulses, it could be oil seeds, or different cash crops. The important cash crop, basically, if you see the trading in the markets are cotton, one of the important cash crop, and then cereals are always there. Basically, the maize, wheat, rice, and these are all traded, and millets should be there. In the oil seeds, there are major 9 oil seeds which are traded. Apart from these commodities, there are non-agri commodities like edible oils, and then metals are also there to be included into this. Now, coming to this, basically, why there is a need to study about commodities? Can anybody say why there is a need to study about the commodities? Any one reason for this? If you want to trade in commodity, or if you want to know about the commodities market, why it is so much necessary? We can do some trading or other activities in. Yeah, please, Subham, I think you have raised your hand.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead. The participant can unmute and then simply speak up if it is possible.
Yes, sir. Participants can unmute themselves and ask their queries.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I want to know about hemp cultivation.
Hemp cultivation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is also a type of commodity only. Basically, once you go, whether the commodity is an agriculture commodity or a metal commodity, the approach for the business or the strategies would be the same. Basically, you need to identify the markets first of all. The source of information has to be identified, and then only you can proceed onto the final process of the product.
Sir, can you tell where can we get license for that?
For hemp production, you can go for the government website. There are lots of information available on the websites of the government website also. Some Jute Corporation of India is there, then other. You can basically connect to the nearest agriculture universities also for getting the information on that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Now, why it is necessary to know about the commodities? Some of the critical drivers, if you see, the critical drivers means the use of the commodity in different sectors. I've already mentioned a couple of things, basically whether it is the food sector or the textile or the housing sector or even the energy or transport. Everywhere you see the usage of commodity. Commodity comes in there. Suppose it is clothes and textiles, where there could be cotton, could be there, viscose could be there, and different types of raw materials which are basically leading to the fiber world. Then if you talk of housing sector, you are using bricks, you are using copper, you are using iron, steel, and different types of, whether if you talk of energy, the important source of energy right now in India is around crude oil. The next would be coal and the natural gas. These are the three important sources of energy. Now, from these three, one important source of energy has been emphasized by different leaders basically of the countries. What is that? Can you say?
Doctor, before answering that question,
yeah, please.
This commodity market does not lead to the inflation?
Directly, it is not leading to any inflation or deflation. Basically, if you see, once the commodity is basically a raw material for the industrial or the processed products. So, it is vectored in different sort of, and once the commodity is being traded on a very small scale, suppose a marginal scale or a small scale commodity is there, in there could be, suppose there are minor commodities which are traded not on a very large scale. In those cases, the price manipulation could be a reality. But in case of broad commodities which are traded across the country, I think which are basically an important component to the inflation. The other factors which are affecting the price of that particular commodity, right from its upbringing to the reaching up to the consumer, those are the important factors which are leading to the inflation and not directly the commodities itself.
Is the future trade allowed in commodity?
Yeah, futures are being allowed into the commodities, and there is a very misconception that the futures basically leads to the price distortion or even the rise in the inflation and all. But to be frank, what I have observed in the last around 15-20 years of my tracking of the prices and the commodity sectors, I feel that once the commodity is being removed from the futures market, that means the visibility of the price is being checked. The people who are not directly linked to those trading of those particular commodities are just not able to see the prices moving ups and down. But the activity which is being basically governed by the demand and supply of those commodities continues backhand in the physical market, and those continue to be governed by the different factors which are governing the international and as well as the domestic markets. So the fluctuation or the volatility in the prices continues in the physical market, but the view of those things basically, suppose you are a market participant and you are actively trading on futures, you won't be able to see the or feel even the different by the active stakeholders who are involved in the trading of those commodities.
So basically, it's a kind of like a yardstick for the demand and the supply.
Yeah, but if you can say, just say that it's a factor, basically, it's a balance between the demand and the supply of a particular commodity at a particular point of time.
So if somebody wanted to get involved in commodity trading, then
Yes.
they need to have an access to the demand and the supply so that they could actually do a better job.
See, I have basically analyzed towards the end of the presentation, I have basically listed down around 13 or 14 important factors which has to be kept in mind while you are trading in commodity or you are very much trying to basically come with an investment plan in the commodities market.
All
Okay,
right.
there are 13 or 14 factors which will be basically very much important to be tracked, or at least you should have an awareness about those factors.
So basically, the data is coming from some source.
Right.
How much of the trust we can have in those sources?
In the long run, if you see, once you are directly coming into the market, you should be able to build up your own source of information.
All right. Okay. I'll wait for that, Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, you have to basically, you will be coming day in, day out, you will be coming away and you will be fed by different news and different informations. But it's all up to your judgment, basically, whether to react on those news or not. That will come only one if you are very much thorough with the fundamentals behind those particular commodities.
Okay, that leads to me one question. Maybe that's the last question. So, what fundamentally differs with the stock
Right.
trading and commodity trading? What is the fundamental difference?
You need to be basically follow the fundamentals of the commodity, and then only basically you will be have an idea of where the prices are going forward, whether down the 6 months line. Basically, this is the important factor basically, but sometimes it has been taken care of, and some untoward events also comes up, and there is a remedy for those events also.
Okay. So, can we call the commodity traders to be the rate fixers?
Not exactly, basically, because ultimately the demand and the supply is going to fix up the rate. They can't, any trader, whether they are very much dominant in the market or they are passive in the market, they can't for a very longer period of time influence the price and get away with the price, basically what they want. It has to ultimately come down to the demand and supply factors.
Right. So the commodity trading, like how it can help the agriculture, like say I'm a farmer,
Right,
I'm
sir.
growing, let's say 3 cash crops or 4 cash crops.
Right.
And can I be benefited by looking at the commodity market? I'm not trading, but looking at the commodity market, I can determine what cash crops I can.
Certainly. Yeah, certainly you can be able to be, you will be in a better position to judge about your own cropping pattern. I think
Thank
the
you.
study of the commodity basically is just this. Because of that only, I am emphasizing more on the fundamental side of the research, not on the
Sure,
price gazing and all. Once you are thorough with the fundamentals of where the commodity fundamentals are being gone. Suppose you talk of a crop, any crop, which is grown in 190 days to 120 days. Within that period, what happens with the weather, what happens with the insect pests, what happens with the rainfall, those are the important factors you need to study and come out with a meaningful conclusion. Once you are thorough with that, and we are able to predict your output levels, I think no one can basically fool you in the market or take advantage of you. I think I have answered your query. I think it is for. I'll move forward with this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Now, just because why is commodity so much important? It's just because if you see the correlation between the growth and the economic growth, anything basically, whether you talk of Tata, whether you talk of Reliance, we talk of any bigger companies, the core business always comes down to the commodity. Whether they are producing steel or they are steel making companies, the raw material is iron ore. Ultimately, they will come down to the price of the iron ore. If some factors which are governing the price of the iron ore goes haywards, accordingly the price will behave in the longer run. So ultimately, everything comes down to the commodities. Simply, just the next point, if you see, the growth commodities are basically divided into growth, different all the commodity sectors into growth commodities and non-growth commodities. Just because if you talk of the food grain items, these are the non-growth commodities because you directly consume them. They are the part of the processing industry, and then ultimately market. But the major chunk, if you see, are the growth commodities. You can add up to the crude oil. That is one of the things. Copper is considered to be a main growth commodity because entire world construction, whether it is construction, communication, or even the recently emphasized renewable energy sources, these are all coming from copper. They use basically large chunks of copper compared to their traditional means. And cotton basically is the sole source of natural fiber basically for clothing. So these are called as the growth commodity because anything happens in those commodities is going to impact the overall growth of the economy in a bigger way. The next is the rising production, level of production, processing, and the commodity consumption trades. This all will be directly impacted by the demand and supply nature of the commodities. The fundamental factor, if you say, we have just discussed about what are the important factors which are going to govern the demand and the supply. The important factors I have already listed out here: the weather, the quantum of output, the quality of the output which you are getting from the field, and then the grading and quality analysis and everything will fall in line accordingly. Then the amount of export and import. The government policy is always an important part of the entire, if you are dealing with the exportable commodities or the imported commodities. Then the tariff, taxes, price. Then population is also one of the important factors in this case, because if you see the demand driven commodities, basically if all commodities are considered to be a demand driven commodity, the higher the population, higher is the demand, depending upon which area they are basically residing. And the last would be the important non factors, fundamental factors. We see they are the fund, geopolitical tensions, and the inflations. Important factor is also basically guiding the market price. Can anybody guess what is that? I think you will be, if you are interested in commodity or if you are interested in any trade, it happens, and it's a very common term. I have purposely not mentioned here. Can you guess of one important factor, basically, which has to be there? I'll wait for 10 seconds. Anybody can guess? Yeah, please speak up. Don't raise your hand. Just unmute your mic and speak up, please. Okay, I will supply you the answer right now. It's speculation, without which the volatility in the price won't exist and the whole market would not be so volatile. Now coming to the structure, I think this is the basic structure of the commodities market. The primary structure, you are very much all aware. That means it's directly dealing with the commodities, the raw material being produced in the field, brought into the market. This is the primary level of product, basically market. Second is the transforming sector, basically, whether it is the processing sector. They will be doing the first level of processing, second level of processing, and they will come out with the finished products. Then the third is the tertiary sector, which basically deals with the processed goods and basically help those finished products to reach the consumers. And the last, I think this is a very new sector being added into this. There is the quaternary sector. It's an information and environmental technology sector. Here I would like to just give you basically ask the question. Can you all, anybody basically can give one single example of each sector? One single example of each sector. Probably I think the guidelines and the other hints are already been provided on the right hand side of the slide. Seeing those, can you give one example from each sector?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, in primary sector, we can have the farmers.
Great.
In secondary sector, we have the processing industries.
Great.
Like from wheat to dalia.
Right.
Then tertiary sectors who transport it, or B2C or B2B we have.
Right.
And in the quaternary sector, we have the IT department or IoT department, like Internet of Things.
No, there is some gap in this.
Okay.
I just ask you one example from this sector. Have you heard of Zomato, Swiggy? These are the food delivery items. They don't do any business apart from delivering the services. This is a new sector emerging in the Indian food sector. And this has been classified into the quaternary sector. Understood? Now coming to the important features, I think the bottom side, if you see, these are the important traditional features of Indian agriculture. But apart from the traditional agriculture system, there are few more developments which coming up. The Indian strength ultimately lies in the variety, basically agroclimatic zones, different seasonal crops. The entire cropping system of India has been divided into Kharif, Rabi, and sector is the Jad, which is basically cultivated between the Kharif after the Rabi, basically between the Rabi and the Kharif seasons. But apart from that, if you see the challenges, what are the important challenges? Because each and every challenges will just hint you towards an enterprise which you can focus upon during the later part of your career. So I just listed down the major careers. Yes, okay. Oh, sorry. Before that, challenges in Indian agriculture. Basically, what are the major challenges in Indian agriculture? I'll just speak it out. Major challenges. The first part, if you see, is the fluctuation in the prices. The next would be the low yield, which has been in India has been grappling about with the low yield factors. And the other factors, if you see, it could be the high fluctuation in prices, lot of speculations being activity and going on across India, and the absence of market stability factors basically. The market is near to the farming rates, but the market participants or the farmers do not have the access to the wider markets. That is important challenges. So if you see at each and every step, basically, there are important challenges which could help you in doing. Now, for the status of agribusiness in India, the important characteristics if you see in the current status is the fragmented and low scale of productions. The processing and marketing is also on the lower side. This means basically that the overall, if you see, there are lots of small scale industries, even lower than the small scale or the micro scale enterprises which are being functioning in India. Some are economical, some are non-economical. Some basically grows for a couple of years and then shut down. That could be a possibility. And the other things would be could sustain and then grow for a longer period of time. Out of over 99, suppose out of 100 enterprises, it might be very much being known that around 99% of those enterprises either basically do not succeed or they are basically facing a problem of finances and all, and then they all close down to the factor. So working in the agriculture sector is very much a challenging part, just because there is an uncertainty in the output level. The quality assurance is also very much a challenging price, and the price fluctuation is always there. Now the long-term supply chain is also challenged by the absence of standard or efficient logistics systems. I'll just explain you an example. Basically, if you talk of any commodities, whether it is wheat, rice, soybean, or any other commodities, they are produced in one particular period of time. Suppose if you talk of soybean, they are produced within the period in the Kharif season. Their marketing period basically, or the supply season basically starts from October and ends in January. That means 3 months of the period from October to January. The market basically has been, supply is been there. Basically depends on the last 3 months supplies only, and that has to be basically consumed for all throughout the year. So this side of long supply chain also basically are also one of the challenges. Apart from that, the many intermediaries are there, the different market chains are being employed, and then the quality grading and processing part is also one of the challenges, because lots of mandis in India across, if you see, only 10% have a full-fledged grading and processing facilities at their end basically, so that they can grade the produce of the farmers and then build up to a grade of the commodity which is being accepted by the processors. Now the standards, so non-standard of commodities, just because a lot in one particular commodity, there are lots and lots of varieties being grown. Even if you talk of simple rice, more than 1,000 varieties are being grown across India, and the industry requires the input not in terms of variety but in terms of grade, whether the grain size is of a particular size or not, whether the cooking quality is of a particular standard or not. So these are the requirements of the industry, and the farmers, those who are growing the produce on based on the varieties, are not able to meet up to the requirements of the processors. In that case also, the farmers are not able to get the better price. So this is one of the important challenges being faced. Then the high logistic cost is there. If you see the logistic cost, which are currently the Indian industry is incurring, is roughly around 20 to 25% of the entire total business cost. But if you compare it with the global standards, it's hardly around 4 to 8%. Now the Indian government, through various channels and efforts, are trying to bring it down to around 10 to 12%, so that a lot of capital which are being eroded just because of the logistic could be basically saved and be channelized into different positive manners. Now the fragmented processing industry. I was just talking about the different processing industry. If you see rice hullers and millers, big hullers, if you say, there are very much less, around 8 to 10 hullers are there, and if you see, more than thousands of small units are there which are operating in smaller locations. Most of the hullers are basically facing the financial pressure because of the economy of scale. They are not able to meet up their requirements. Financial requirements are they are either on the point of shutdown, or they are basically managing their finances in a very stringent ways. Similarly, the case with the wheat roller fields, dal mills are all basically working on a very small scales. Same is the condition with the oilseed crushings. So if you see the overall fragmentation of the industry, I think in all the sectors, very micro level processing has been done on a bigger scale. Though there are a few corporate players who are basically trading and basically operating on a bigger scale, but the number of small and marginal operators in those industries are more than the required numbers. So there is a lot of cutthroat competition within them, and then there is a problem of fund for all those players. Now, with commodities, there is an emerging field of warehousing industry which could be basically targeted as a new avenue for investment. Why there is a need for modern investment in warehousing sector? Just because the post-harvest losses currently has been estimated at around 10 to 12%, in spite of we producing around roughly 350 billion tons of food grains. We are able to take only around 280 to 290 million metric tons, and the rest have been basically destroyed or been converted into non-food grades just because of the lack of the storage facilities. Then modern warehouse facility will again come out with different avenues of investments. That is the ease of credit, the avoid distress would be avoided, and then transfer. I will come to the next sectors and we'll discuss about the status of warehousing industry. Now, if you saw talk about the total warehousing system ecosystem, basically, currently the growth of warehousing sector is not so in line with the total production of the food grains. This estimate basically I had done for around 2021 measures. If you see the total potential requirement of the warehousing space in this case is roughly around 108 million metric tons. That means there is a gap of storage space of 108 million metric tons, whether we combine with private sector as well as combined with the government sectors. And one important fact in this case is the predominancy of the unorganized sector in the warehousing sector, which basically also leads to the more level of damages. So in the particular warehousing sector, if you concentrate and try to build up your career or an enterprise into the warehousing sector also, then these are the important avenues where you can basically think of entering into the market. The overall warehousing sector, if you see, functionaries could be divided into commodity care and pest management. The risk management of a warehousing system could also be one of the functions where you can think of. Pledge loans basically, and from the bank, that are crops. This is an important avenue for the collateral financing as well as the structured trade finance. By this, the farmer or even the trader or the processor can get a loan while the commodity is still in the process and has not reached to the final consumer. And they can basically meet up their own financial needs without basically hampering the supply of the commodity. The next important factor, if you say avenue of career, would be the audit functions. Basically, there in all the different functions, there are different types of function guidelines being detailed, and accordingly, the different skill sets are being required from different persons. So, if I was thinking about making a career into the warehousing sector, you can just pick and choose any of these mentioned criteria and then go into a warehousing. And this basically is an emerging field. I feel that in the next 20 to 30 years, we will be requiring another at least a minimum of 180 to 190 million metric tons of space. That means with the current availability of roughly around 154 million tons and the total requirement of around 380 million metric tons of storage space, the gap is huge and so is the potential. for the employment and the growth of the carriers. Coming to the next field, this is the collateral management side. If you see in this case, ultimately in the initial stage of the traditional mode of farming, the farmers were basically lying onto the wagon. Only source of income for the farmers were the money lenders or even the zamindars or the traders who are locally placed. But with the current system, basically adoption of the new and take facility of the warehouse receipt financing. In this case, basically, I'll just give you a brief example, definition of warehouse receipt financing. In this case, the farmer takes the produce directly to the warehouse, stores there. After cleaning, grading, and other quality assessments are done, the warehouse does the valuation of that particular commodity, a stock, and then issues a warehouse receipt. And in that receipt, basically, there is a mention that the particular commodity is being stored at a warehouse, and the warehouse person basically takes the responsibility of the quality and the quantity of the commodity till the commodity lasts in the warehouse. This warehouse receipt can be taken by the farmer to the bank or any other NBFC and take a loan. Mostly, in most of the cases, 60 to 70% of the crop are being funded. Suppose the value of the commodity basically which is being stocked in the warehouse is of around 1 crore, then we can simply, the farmer can simply get a loan of around 65 to 70 crores, 75 lakhs based on the warehouse receipt. This system looks quite simple, but there are still a lot of challenges in between. Basically, if you see, this is industry is very well sensitive to the price range. The margin with which it operates is very low. In case of the warehouse persons, normally the margin taken by the warehouse person to operate the entire process or to take guard and safeguard of the commodity is 1 to 2% of the entire cost. That is charged as a fee or the warehousing fee for the commodity. So this is considered to be a challenge, basically because with such small money, any incidence of fraud, if it happens, the warehouse entire warehousing business is at risk, and that basically populates down to the world. And this, if it is controlled, will lead to a progress in the warehousing sector. And ultimately, it is going to benefit the farmers if these services are being spread out to more to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Currently, these are basically located mainly in the major trading hubs. Whether if you talk of mustard, it is located at Jaipur, Alwar, and some of the bigger hubs, and not populating to the village levels. This is also one of the challenges which has to be basically overcome in the due course of time. But if one ventures into this as a career option, this is a good option because they can basically, if the manpower level increases, they can basically would be in a better position to take those services deeper into the population and basically where it is much needed. If you talk of the risk involved in those businesses, the first risk is quality risk, the other is the price risk.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, we are running so short of time. Can we just conclude it and later on we'll share the slides to the participants?
Fair enough. I'll just do it in 5 minutes. Not much.
Yeah.
I've already come to the last slide.
Okay, sir. Fine.
I'll just basically highlight the important types because these are very much important. Once you basically enter into the commodity business, you should keep this in mind. Basically, this is the important thing based on which all the business strategy will be based. The first is the quality risk, because the quality risk is much more in the commodity business in compared to the FMCG goods. Because at every 100 kilometers, the variety of the crop changes, and so the nature of the commodity also changes. Apart from that, it is directly dependent upon the weather, because the production happens in the field. So that also is has to be taken care of. And accordingly, the valuation of that commodity is there. Then the price risk, because of the volatility from the different markets, the volatility is always there. So we have to take care of the price. The rest basically are being taken care of. Just reach to the warehouse person. I think the other risks, basically, if you speak of the quantity risk or the operational risk or the regulatory risk and the credit risk, these all 4 risks would be taken by the warehouse service providers. So farmer basically at the initial level should worry about the quality risk only, and then the rest can be taken care of by the warehouse service providers. Now, the factors affecting the quality, I think I was just mentioning towards the beginning of my slide, basically, these are the important factors which are basically governing the price of the commodity. The demand and supply is there. The situation within the competing crops. Suppose we are talking of soybean, which yields edible oils, but we should be very much aware of what's happening in other oil seeds also, whether it is rapeseed, mustard seed, cotton oil, and other, suppose sesame oil and all. These are also, and the groundnut oil is also competing with the soybean for the oil market. So whatever happens in those markets also are going to impact the crop. So situation in the competing crop has also been taken care. Then the cropping season, because some are grown in Rabi, some are grown in Kharif, some are grown in Jahr seasons. So accordingly, the supply would come into the market, and that is going to basically affect the overall pricing factors. Then the storage facilities. Currently, I just discovered, basically given status of the storage stage, a lot of potential is there for the growth. We need to basically strategically place our basically efforts so that we can get maximum out of those, and we can participate in growing the warehousing sector in a bigger way. Then the quantum of import and export, basically, this will add up to the supply side of the market. Suppose we are importing something, it will add to the supply. If we are exporting, it will add to the scarcity of the commodity. But depending upon the overall production scenario, we can say government is also an important factor which should be taken care of. In the energy prices, currently, I think the entire market is being facing energy prices disruptions. Basically, there is in the global market there is a large scale disruption of supply chain just because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and the longer it goes, I think the disruption will continue for a longer period of time. Then the other factor is the geopolitical tension, whether it is a war-like situation, whether there is a natural calamity, that is also going to impact the prices. These are the extraordinary events, which could be COVID. These were the recent ones. There could be some war-like situation, there could be some fire, or there could be some floods. These are all the extraordinary events which can happen. Apart from those factors, the trade and policy change is also going to impact the price and the nature of how the commodity business entirely is going to function. Then the last thing is always there, the speculation. I think you should at any given point of time, you can't basically ignore the speculation. This can affect the price for a very short period of time, but it can basically distort the business cycle in a big way. With this, basically, I come to the end of my presentation. Hope you all have enjoyed. If there are any queries, I'll be very much happy to help you.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a very insightful and interactive session, as you have interacted with the participants also and answered their queries. So I'm pretty sure that our participants must have got the best knowledge from you. And if in case right now I can't see any other question in the chat box, but if in case we will get some more questions from the participant, we'll send the question to you through mail.
Yeah, that will be fine. I think I will love to answer this.
Yeah, and sir, your experience and expertise is very vast, and it's not possible for us to get all the knowledge from you in just a small session.
Very much.
So
basically, right now, see one thing. I've been basically right now imparting training on those commodity lines also. Basically.
Yeah, we'll surely connect with you later on in another program.
Sure. I'd love to go. Sure.
So thank you, sir, on the behalf of entire team of Just Agriculture and our participants. I just want to thank you for taking out precious time from your busy schedule for this training program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and good day. Bye-bye.
Same to you, sir.
Sure. Bye.
So now moving forward, I would like to invite our next guest speaker, Dr. Medida Sunil Kumar, Associate Professor in the Department of Agronomy, Agricultural College, Acharya N.G. Ranga University, Baptala, Andhra Pradesh. So sir has completed BSc Agriculture from Agricultural College, Acharya N.G. Ranga Agriculture University, Baptala, Andhra Pradesh, and MSc in the discipline of Agriculture Meteorology at CCS HAU, Hisar, Haryana, and PhD in the discipline of Agronomy at Agricultural College, Acharya N.G. Ranga Agriculture University, Baptala. So sir has experience of 6.5 years in teaching, 2 years of experience in extension, and 6 years of experience in research. So sir has completed 14 years of service in Acharya NG Ganga University, and he has been working in remote sensing and geographical information system in agriculture, dryland agriculture, and crop modeling. Now his research is broadly focused in monitoring agricultural resources, land use and land change, crop type mapping, crop health monitoring, crop yield estimation, etc. And sir has published more than 25 national and international research papers in various reputed journals. And he is a life member for 8 scientific research association, and attended international trainings and programs on rice mapping and monitoring at Puraska, Switzerland, and rice yield estimation or ISA crop model at IRI, Philippines. So sir has acted as a lead scientist from Acharya NG Ganga University in satellite-based rice monitoring system for Andhra Pradesh, a collaborative project of IRI and Acharya NG Ganga University and Government of Andhra Pradesh. So beside this, sir is associated with the Acharya NG Ganga DBT project on expansion of activities of Biotech Kisan Hub in aspirational district of Andhra Pradesh, All India Coordinated Research Project on Dryland Agriculture, World Bank funded Andhra Pradesh Water Sector Improvement Program, and the mechanized system of rice intensification, and many more. So sir is having a working knowledge on decision support system for agrotechnology transfer and info crop modeling, beside the remote sensing and GIS software of earth resources data analysis system, NV Snap, and QGIS software. So sir, it is quite evident from your biodata that you are such an eminent personality, and we are so happy to have you on board. So now, without wasting much time, I would like to invite you to deliver your talk. So welcome, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. A very warm welcome and good evening to all. I am more thankful and grateful to acting as a guest speaker on this international training program in Agriculture 4.0. And first, let me heartily welcome all the participants. Really, this training program has undertaken with the collaboration of a multi-institutional and sector to fill the gap in the technology to create awareness among the scientific community. I strongly say that the participants of this training program will key on burning issues which are happening in the current scenario of agriculture. As I am the, you all will find the valuable points from my lecture. Let me share my PowerPoint.
Yeah, sir, sure.
Coming to the topic, remote sensing and GIS tool to solve the real world problems in agriculture, and subtitle is remote sensing and GIS technology is a solution for the productive agriculture. And these are the some of the real world problems in for the large areas where we are facing currently. And first and foremost one is a crop acreage estimation, second one is crop health monitoring, and third damage assessment, fourth one monitoring of land resources, and fifth one is suitability assessment, and sixth one is the yield estimation. Coming to the one by one. So this is this is in one of the good example of crop acreage estimation. This was done at Andhra Pradesh in collaboration with the IRI, SARMAP, and Acharya Engineering Agriculture University. The project was funded by government of Andhra Pradesh. In this, we estimated the rice crop zone area in the entire Andhra Pradesh during the Kharif 2019. So the estimated rice area was 14,97,919. And Department of Agriculture reported area is 14,067,699. Difference is 32,742. Means we overestimated the area. So means this is when we compared with the DOA data. This was done by using the synthetic aperture radar data of Sentinel-1A, European Space Agency Sentinel-1A data, using the Mapscape Rice software. So here, with the help of the optical data of the Sentinel-2, our NDVI data, and VV and VH bands, based on the rule-based classification, we estimated the rice area for the entire Andhra Pradesh. So similarly, in estimation of crop area, this is a crop type mapping of Krishna Western Delta of Guntur district during the Rabi 2021. This is purely using the optical remote sensing for Sentinel-2. Sentinel-2, here we can able to clearly see where the crop is growing and which mandal and how much area. So by using the zonal histogram or the zonal statistics, we can able to extract each and every mandal or village wise how much area of maize was there. Sorghum. This is here. There are total 4 crops are there. One is the maize, second one is sorghum, third one is a black gram, fourth one is a green gram. So out of these 4 crops, where it is there and how much area, and we can able to compare with this. Similarly, as I shown in the earlier slide, we can compare the crop data with the DOI data, estimated data with the DOI data. So this is the one more classical example with, which was done along with the URI team in the satellite-based rice monitoring system for Andhra Pradesh. Here, the start of season map of rice during the Kharif season. So, the start of season map was done using Mapscape rice. Here also, by using a rule-based, threshold-based classification. Here, for classifying the same, using the copolarization and cross-polarization data. So, copolarization VV bands of maximum of -8 and a minimum of -14, and cross-polarization of VH channel of -14 and -23 with a water depth of -16 for copolarization and cross-polarization of -24. This is a completely rule-based algorithm for detection of the rice area. So after detection of the rice area, whether the detected things were whether it is a rice or non-rice, or it may be the presence of some of the animal vegetation which is generally present in the water bodies. So and also to find whether it is in proper detection or not. Means sometimes immediately after the agronomic flooding, we may see some of the grasses also erect from the come out of the water, or sometimes farmers in the low-lying areas, farmers may keep their land for more than 20 days or 30 days with the inundation conditions. So under such conditions, to identify whether it is in real SOS or not, by using a copolarization -11 and cross-polarization -19 for the maximum, and minimum for copolarization -30 and cross-polarization for 30, and validating the SOS. So we detected the rice. We identified that these are the maybe probable areas of the rice, and second one is this is the rice detection. This is the exact start of season, and whether it is exactly same or not. What actually happening is, in the backscattering coefficient, sigma naught, generally after during the agronomic modeling time, the backscattering coefficient values will be dipped, or values will be low. Immediately after flooding or immediately after transplanting, their values will be increased. The rate of increase in the successive acquisition will decide whether it is a transplanted or not. So, or it is a continuously flooding, or it may be a pond, or to delineate the land surface from the rice fields. So, for validating a copolarization, immediately after, in the successive acquisition, the copolarized conditions maximum dB should be more than 12, and cross-polarization dB should be more than -20. So under such conditions, those particular pixels will be considered as a rice area. With that one, we can the following start of season map was estimated. Here we can able to clearly see from 2nd May 2019 to the 11th October 2019. So these are the consecutive acquisitions of the Sentinel-1A SAR data. So these images were processed, and by using the above said rule-based classifier with the help of that one. So the successive tiles were overlaid. Due to the result of this one, we are seeing this map. Here we can clearly see in each and every part of the Andhra Pradesh when the rice crop was started. This is having an accuracy of plus or minus 12 days, means one tile accurate, means error. This is pertaining to the start of the season map of rice during the Kharif 2019 in the different parts of Andhra Pradesh. So coming to the crop health monitoring. So we all know NDVI is the one of the most used vegetative index to monitor the crop health. So with the progress of time, how the NDVI is changing. If it is gradual, NDVI values are gradually increasing, it's good. If it is not increasing, what's happening? So we have to recheck the analysis and confirm from the ground truth observations. After confirming from the ground truth observation, the same things are happening in the consecutive tiles also. We have to identify this one, the particular area. It is not healthy, and here a lot of things will happen in a real world scenario. Sometimes actually there is a weed is strongly growing in a particular area, so after few days farmers will do first plow the lands. At the time the weed will disappear from the land. Because of that one, NDVI values may dips. So in the consecutive tails, if we analyze the temporal a series of NDVI data, we can able to clearly see what is happening exactly there. So besides and over all of these, we should have a proper knowledge on that particular ecosystem. What type of vegetation is growing? What are the major crops are there? So how the land, how they are growing, crops sequence is there in that particular ecosystem. So either a short duration crop or long duration crop is short stretched or less LAI containing crops or high LAI, and we should have a proper idea and the package and the practices of how farmers are doing. So with that done, we can be able to interpret the NDVI data. With the confirmation of the ground truth, we can arrive whether the crop is in healthy or not. So if you see here from the June onwards, how the vegetation is gradually turning by the end of the November 19. So here, the NDVI values, which are in brown, red, and dark red, is somewhat a dangerous mark, and whereas in green color, it's good for vegetation. So in the first slide in the June 2019, on the western part of the first slide, where it is showing this is in a it is completely hilly and forest vegetation, which is green in color in the month of June. So the progress of time by the July, some parts adjoining areas of the western part is completely turned into the green, and the green patches are gradually increased by the end of the September. So in September and October also, there are some of, especially in September, there are some areas which are shown in the dark red color in the east coast. So this is nothing but a plowed soils, plowed bare soils, which is having a low NDVI values, so which was confirmed with the ground truth data. Here, as compared to the previous data, if there is a change in the vegetation, we can able to see in the October, there are certain isolated locations in the southeast and northeastern conditions. There, the NDVI values were reduced. So for the reduction of this one is in one of the major thing is the abiotic stress. Because of the persistence, because of the presence of abiotic stress in that particular geographical location, the NDVI values were dipped. So coming to the third one, crop damage assessment. This is mainly pertaining to the abiotic stress. This is an NDVI anomaly during the 2017 and 18 cropping season. NDVI anomaly was derived using the NDVI of the ith month minus long-term NDVI mean divided by standard deviation. So this one done by using the MODI satellite data to delineate whether the particular area is having any agricultural drought or not. So it's in the progress of time from June 2017 to the February 2018. So how the vegetation is changing as compared to the long-term mean and long-term mean. So we can able to clearly see here. So here there are totally four classes were there. One is the more than minus 1.5, 1.3, minus 1.3 to the 1.5, and one minus 1.0 to the 1.3, and green is more than 0.8. So here we after 3 years of study, we came to know that one, and light soils where the vegetation is there, which is having NDVI anomaly value is more than minus 1.0, is showing some drought, mild to moderate drought symptoms. Whereas in case of in heavy soils, the NDY anomaly value is more than minus 1.5. So with this one, we able to finalize this one. So the red area indicates the area social where the crop is suffering. So here the rainfed ecosystem within this red area is having short of water during this crop season. So June 2017, we see except the coastal area, eastern part, entire part is in red color with some bright spots in and around. So with the progress of season from June to July, we can clearly see isolated patches besides in some of the northwestern part where we have a big patch around big patch area. So this with the in coming to the August, it was the entire drought conditions were more or less removed except a few isolated patches. The same, it is very clear in September and October. So there is no short of water in these areas. So all the NDY values in this particular September and October is more above the 10-year means. And coming to the November and December, so at the end of this season, so here onwards, gradually there is an increase in the shortage of water here. So by this one, we can able to say that one, by comparing the NDY values with the long-term means, we can able to assess whether the crop is good or not. Why we are taking the long-term means is, so every individual geographical location or agro ecosystem may vary from the other. So within the same ecosystem, the NDY, the long-term mean NDY values is different from the others. So by comparing with the long-term anomaly, we can able to assess the present existing NDY values are up to the mark or not. If they are not there, so these results, whatever with the satellite processed images or interpretations are verified by using the ground truth analysis. So after taking the ground truth analysis, we interpret the results and came to the finally this crop damage was observed in the light soils where NDY anomaly is more than minus 1.0 and where NDY anomaly is more than 1.5 in heavy soils. So this is regarding the abiotic stress. So similarly, to determine whether it is an agricultural drought is prevailed in that particular area or not, rainfall data was collected from more than 40 years of rainfall data is available. So 40 years rainfall data along the current season, crop season's rainfall data, standard precipitation index was derived using the R software. So whatever the values we obtained that were with the help of the GIS softwares, and Kriging method, we prepared a map, and here we can clearly see the progress of time, how standard precipitation index is there in different parts of the selected study area. So here we can able to see in the June, major part is covered by the red color. With the progress in the July, August, September, so it will completely disappear. Means this particular area is having a distinctive rainfall pattern, especially the southern part, southern and southeast, especially southeastern part is received rainfall during the northeast monsoon period, and the remaining part received rainfall during the southwest monsoon period. So here we can clearly see that one, the areas besides this one in coastal areas also we may receive some of the rainfall from some northeast monsoons. So in the June 2018 onwards, the standard precipitation means a drought was gradual, means moisture stress was completely disappeared till the month of September. But in the August, it was again appeared in some in major parts, except some parts in the western regions. So coming to the September, so the receiving of northeast monsoon rainfall in the major parts due to the cyclonic circulations. So here the moisture stress conditions were disappeared, except a few isolated patches in the western part of the study area. So during the December, January, and February, these are more or less in dry months in this 2018-19 cropping season. So because of that one, so water of the oil moisture, which was gradually drying up in the soil due to that one, so NDVI values were increased. So here we identified with the in light soils, SPOI values less than -0.5 is harmful for the crop growth and development. Whereas in case of heavy soils, it is -0.75. We all know NDVI by using the SPI, mild drought or mild drought to extreme drought conditions may arise from 0 to more than -0.2. So, but it may vary from the ecosystem to the ecosystem. Whereas in case of here, in the light soils, we observed the mild drought symptoms, mild to moderate drought symptoms in the -0.5 of SPI and -0.75 of heavy soils. So this is regarding the standard precipitation index based agricultural meteorological drought monitoring in 2018-19 cropping season. So this is one more classical example for assessing the flood damage using the remote sensing based methods. So Titli cyclone, which passed through the Srikakulam coast on October 13th, 2018. So here we can able to clearly see the blue color blue color line. This is the cyclone passes path, and this is in wind front of 90 kilo-hectopascals. So here the red colored pixels indicated the flooded rise, and blue color pixels indicated the other flooded areas, non-rise, and entire green is the rice crop. So here the yellow colored is the observed damage areas during the ground truth besides the above. So here the pre-cyclonic conditions the rice area was estimated of 2,05,174 hectares. Because of the Titli cyclone, the around 53,312 hectares of rice area was damaged. So first pre-cyclonic condition was assessed using Sentinel-1 SR data and Titli cyclone data. Cyclone damage assessment was done by using the TerraSAR-X satellite data. So coming to the here we can able to clearly see this light green or lemon green colors, which is in a non-flooded with no indication of crop failure. Especially this is the cyclone I, in and around the cyclone I areas and away from the cyclone I. So these are the areas where which are away from the wind front and also the heavy rainfall zones. And besides that one, these away areas of the cyclonic eye, these areas were because of the slopy lands and land slope also facilitated them to not to be damaged during the crop season. So here red color indicated the flooded crop failed. This is on the rice, and a purple color indicated not flooded, crop failed. So this is this damage, blue color indicates the flooded, but crops survived. So here crop failed or crop survived is based upon the flooded rice. This is again a threshold based algorithm. We arrived after interpreting the data. So here backscattering coefficient is the crop is in flowering stage. At that time, backscattering coefficient is less than 1.6, then it means the crop was damaged. So then the crop is not in flowering stage. The backscattering coefficient is more than 1.6, the crop is damaged. So here we can clearly see the flooded rice, flooded crop failed, not flooded, crop failed, and flooded crop survived. So with this one, for this one, we estimated the crop yield also, which we may come across in the later slides. coming to the monitoring of land resources, we all know land use and land cover maps are one of the important maps which generally used in remote sensing and GIS to assess where the particular area is there, how much, what are the different biological activities are which are present on the surface of the land. And these land use maps especially speaks about the spatial distribution of the actually features like agricultural area, water, bare soils, hill areas, dense vegetation, sparse vegetation, wetland, and open. Whereas in case of a land cover, land cover is nothing but all the features. We can able to see this one. So this is based on the 5 seasons by using the SAR and optical data. We prepared this land use and land use map for Andhra Pradesh. So with this one, we can able to compare after 10 years or after 5 years, how the land use is changing in the Andhra Pradesh, whether it is a positive side or negative side, how much of the forest area is and dense vegetation is there, whether it is decreasing or increasing, or how much of soil is bare and kept for without any cultivation, and what about the wetlands, whether the distribution of the wetlands and water bodies and all those things we can able to assess. So this is coming to the current fellows monitoring. So we can able to monitor the current fellows using the satellite data. This is one of the good example. So here by using the NDVA and modified bare soil index, this is a modified bare soil index is nothing but it's a band ratio, just like an NDVA. Here instead of NIR by NS red by NIR plus red, here we used MIR minus NIR by MIR plus NIR. So here this modified bare soil index, we all know identifying the bare soil current fallows is one of the typical tasks in the tropical coastal ecosystem. Why? Because this, so during the monsoon season, more than 4 months or majority of the monsoon period, the entire sky is covered by the clouds, and cloud-free availability of cloud-free images is very rare. So with that single image, assessing the area is leads to sometimes some majority of the conditions, the errors will be increased. So to overcome that one, by using the MODIS data, which is having an cloud removal algorithm with the help of the MODIS data. So we identified the current fallows using the NDVA and MBSI, modified bare soil index. So this is also a threshold based rule classifier for this particular study area. So with the slight improvements, we can able to use in the other ecosystems also. Here MBSA value, modified bare soil index values are more than -0.8 and NDVA is less than 0.4 is considered as a threshold for identifying the bare soils. So here in modified bare soil index values for ranges from ±1. So bare soils are generally more than -0.33, and just sown crops is having an -0.33 to -0.38, and initial crops and fallows with a thick mat of vegetation generally recorded around 0.38 in and around vegetation which is having -0.44. So more the negative values, more the crop is shown with the vegetation. More the positive values, those are the areas which are bare and without any vegetation. So based upon this one, we able to estimate the current fallows in the Kharif 2021 cropping season. Here we can see current fallow is nothing but the particular point of time, means in the current season where the land is covered by the vegetation or any agronomic activities are taking place, or either the land is kept as a vacant. So here we can able to clearly see with the 9th June acquisition, which is shown in the A in the image. Here the majority of the areas, means there are some white patches are there, which is nothing, which are non-agricultural areas. So agricultural areas completely demarcated in the brown color. So in agriculture and also in the first image in the 9th June, few of the patches where urban vegetation, means horticultural crops are there. Some of the areas where summer crops are grown, that also present in the white color. So coming to the in the 9th June, here the brown color area, current fallows is covered in much of the study area. With the progress of the season, the current fallow areas were gradually decreased, and especially the type of particular thing we can able to see in the August. So which is nothing but E slide, we can able to see the gradual majority of the areas where brown color area was gradually decreased by the end of the August. So only few isolated patches in the east coastal eastern side and some other parts in the southern area we can able to see. This is gradually disappearing and by September itself. So only in isolated patches where the crop is lacking. This is the by the end of the Kharif season, the areas where we are seeing here the current fallows are nothing but these areas are the which were kept vacant for the Kharif season. And the Rabi season, generally farmers will go for Bengal gram in these areas, especially east coast. In some of the areas which are present in the southern part, this is the rain shadow areas. Generally Kharif is a off season for them. For the Rabi and the summer season crops were sown in these areas. So besides that one, some of the areas where the fallows are present in the western side or southwestern side, which were clearly demarcated here. So with the help of this one, we can, if we have an 3 or 4 years of data like this, we can able to we can with the help of this one, we are identifying the particular patches where the land is vacant. So and also estimate the resources, agricultural resources which is present in the particular areas. Based on that, we can suggest a new crop or cropping system which is suitable for the particular location. So this type of works will increase the cropping, helpful to suggesting to increase in the cropping intensity in that area by empowering the farmers. Next, coming to the soil fertility mapping. So here we can able to see here based on the soil sampling data, whatever the data which we collected, we using the data, we prepared these maps for the Kurnool district of Andhra Pradesh. Here we can able to see available organic carbon, soil, potassium, and iron and zinc, which is present in the particular different geographical locations, whether it is in the low conditions or excess condition, medium or high. So it is clearly visible here. So next, coming to the land degradation and normalized difference salinity index of normalized degree of salinity index based by using this band ratio. We prepared soil salinity index for the Guntur district. So here this is a simple band ratio, red minus NIR by red plus NIR using the Landsat 8 data of April 2017. We estimated the areas of how much area was degraded or affected by the salinity. Next, coming to the crop water requirement. So crop water requirement of so this is by using the crop water software, we calculated the crop water requirement of sorghum and maize crops, and again the data was using the GIS software. So we using the kriging method, we prepared this map. So water requirement of maize crop in different mandals has clearly shown here, in the especially northern part of the regions are generally which are away from the coast, and here the temperatures are more high as compared to the coastal areas because of the moderation of temperatures by the presence of vast oceanic area. So moving from the north to the south, here the crop water requirement was increased in both the crops and the for Rabi season. So coming to the suitability assessment, using the remote sensing technology, we can able to assess the weather data and soil data. So using these weather data and soil data, especially rainfall, temperature, and coming to the soil data, slope, altitude, soil depth, texture, drainage, erosion, organic matter, pH, EC, and NPK. So by using all these things, so which crops can be grown in that particular?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Actually, we have another program scheduled after that. So it will kindly conclude it shortly. We are running out of time.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So we can able to, by using the weighted overlay method, we can able to assess the which particular area is suitable for growing of which crop. So based on the suitability, whether it is highly suitable or not, marginally suitable, we can able to map those areas. So similarly, we can able to do the same thing for watershed areas also. This is a crop yield estimation. So here under this one, leaf area index was estimated from the Sentinel-1 year SAR data. So leaf area values ranges from 0 to some of the areas to the up to 7. For the Kharif season of Andhra Pradesh, and with the help of that one, we leaf area and biomass, we estimated the crop yield here. Then some of the areas in red color, which is present in the Srikakulam districts, where the yields are less than 2 tons per hectare. In some of the parts, especially Godavari and Krishna Delta, and some of the KW canal areas and the Karnal areas, where the yields are more received more than 5 tons per hectare. So this is the we already seen earlier the Titli cyclone damaged areas. Due to the cyclone, how much where the yield was low and where the yield was high, you can able to see here. Because of the cyclone, where the crop was damaged in that particular area, yield were less than 1 ton was shown in the dark red color, light red 1 to 2 tons per hectare, and whereas in case of yellow, it's a 3 to 4. Here we can able to clearly see. Success of a resource management always starts with the map, and here we have data and tools. Integrating the data and tools of the people, we can able to make magic in this one. And whatever of the data we are going to getting from the remote sensing satellites and sensors and crowd and UAV or whatever it may be. So by using the different web mapping tools, distribution, spatial analytical tools and other things, we can generate a lot of useful things. Means whatever the data we are going to getting from the especially remote sensing techniques, it's a big data. So only the thing we need is we have to understand the data, we have to interpret the data, and we have deriving a logical and scientific conclusions for the welfare of the farmers. And as coming to the conclusions, use of remote sensing and GIS tools to solve the real world problems is more appropriate and realistic for large scale areas. Proper validation is essential before to upscale the technology. Here validation, so even upscale the technology may having some errors, especially from one ecosystem to the other ecosystem. There may be difference in threshold values, or maybe some major things will be placed in the role in the particular things. And next, coming to the big data generated by these technologies help to understand the current status of the agro ecosystem. If you know the current status based on the existing science and technology, we can able to address the problem very easily. And last one is a spatial temporal monitoring of agro ecosystems in real time basis is essential, which is a vital input for policy making. That's it. Thank you. This is the
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such an insightful session. It was indeed very informative. And I'm so sorry for interrupting you in between, because we have limited time, and we know that your expertise are vast, and it's not possible for get all the knowledge from you in a session of 45 minutes. So our team will organize such more trainings, and we'll get more time to interact with you in the coming future.
Thank you. I look forward to this international training program successful over the next 4 days with a strong content of output to reach everyone with a great exposure. I strongly encourage you all to become actively engaged in various sessions to enhance the scientific knowledge. And thanks to Dr. DPS Badwal sir and Just Agriculture team, and also Dr. Siddharth Nayak, who is my colleague and who invited me to participate in this training program. Thank you to one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and to be with us and to take out your precious time for this training. Our participant must have got the best knowledge from you, and I'm sure that they will request us personally to arrange more sessions with you, because it was indeed very, very informative session. And I can see one question in the chat box, and the question is that how we can prepare for ADO. Like, you can suggest some any book for ADO exam preparation.
Pardon, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, sir. Somebody is asking for the any book for ADU exam. ADU
ADU.
exam.
No, I
Hanji,
don't,
hanji.
I don't have
Yeah.
an idea exactly. ADU means.
Okay, okay, sir. No problem. So in case we, sir, yeah, one question that is there any ban to find damaged crop due to flood? Is the outcome deviate from crop to crop?
It may vary. No, generally it's not variating from crop to crop. Only because only the thing is here we used the Sentinel 1 SR data. So backscattering based on the backscattering coefficient. Here the two things are there. One is based on the coherence. We estimated that one, and in optical data we can able to assess that one. But the thing is that to identify the crop damage, majority especially that particular period is covered by the cloud conditions. So it is not possible to assess the crop damage using the optical data in majority of the cases in almost all southern part of the Indian subcontinent. So whereas in
Okay,
case
sir.
of in some other, suppose if you take this higher latitude or longitudes, in such conditions, we can able to use the optical data for identifying that one. But best band is NIR. NIR is the best band which interact with the crop water, water content which is present, and healthiness of the leaf and all those things.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And once again, I thank you on the behalf of entire team of Just Agriculture, our participants, co-organizer, and on my personal behalf for accepting our invitation and taking out your precious time for this training program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. And participants, thank you for joining. Now we'll have a break of 15 minutes and we'll join at 7:15 for the next session. So thank you all. And the link for the next session will be shared in your WhatsApp groups. So thank you and we'll join at 7:15.